Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 5th International Logistics Forum and Supply Chain Day, organized by ILME, the Hellenic Institute for Logistics Management. As you may know, ILME is the Greek member of the European Logistics Association. We are pleased to welcome you to our event with the topic, The Emerging Era of Logistics, Collaboration, Technology, Training. We will discuss all current issues relevant to our industry, not just for the present day, but also for the future. Let me take a moment to announce the sponsors of the 5th ILF, which are Entersoft, ICCS, Wings, the Hellenic Institute of Transport, GlobalSat, Metaforespress.gr, and Nox Capsule. Also, our conference is being held under the auspices of the Cyprus Supply Chain and Operations Institute, KIFEAS. This month, we also celebrate Supply Chain Day, which was established by the German logistics organization, BVL International. It is a day of information and promotion of logistics and supply chain through events, speeches, presentations, and guided tours of business premises. Companies and organizations open their gates, inviting and giving the public the opportunity to get acquainted with a wide variety of activities in the supply chain industry. Supply Chain Day was celebrated for the first time in 2008, and since then it has been adopted by many European countries. ILME, as the Greek member of the European Logistics Association, has been honoring this day uninterruptedly since 2015. The previous International Logistics Forum, organized by ILME in February 2021, was a great success and was attended by over 530 people from the market and academia. Today, it's our pleasure to host the 5th ILF, which consists of 3 sessions. The first session will dive into the European perspective in logistics, whilst the second session will be analyzing the current and future trends in Greece. The last session will be dealing with the HR perspective in supply chain. Now it's my great pleasure to announce Mr. Konstantinos Chaniotis, the President of ILME and CEO of Telenavis SA. Mr. Chaniotis, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Katerina. Dear friends, dear colleagues, it is a pleasure to have you here in our 6th in a row International Logistics Forum. As President of ILME, I am very proud of our team that includes both Board of Directors and our active members. That are helping every day to make opportunities for logistics to develop. As ILME, we have very regular meetings, and we invite our members to come and speak, and more than that, to take the lead to make us better, i.e. more useful for our communities. We are participating actively in ELA, in European Logistics Association, trying to build European relations and giving the opportunity to the Greek logisticians to have the ELA certification for logistics, and also to present themselves for their projects in the European level. We also participate in clusters for logistics, for the innovation and the use of technology. And we cooperate together for a better world with better logistics in every aspect. We know that we can do more than that, and we call you all to join us, because together we can give more. As I told you, this is the 6th International Logistics Forum, And we have decided to have as, let's say, as topic, as message, the emerging era of logistics, collaboration, technology, and training. Why? Because we feel that the last 2 years, we are in a new era in logistics. And logistics has now playing a very, very important role for all the economies. Collaboration, technology, and training are interconnected and can be a great multiplier for this new era if they developed and put their energy together. We are going to present the first stage, the European stage, together with my colleague, Dr. Malidretos, George Malidretos, member of the Board of Directors of ILME and professor in Harokopio University. George, please come up on stage. And the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Konstantinos. Good evening from me. I would like to thank you at first our sponsors that support our conference today. I would like to thank all presenters for accepting our invitation and the audience for their participation in this very important conference. So in this first session, we're very pleased to have with us 3 acknowledged speakers with great experience in logistics and supply chain fields. Mr. Amditis, Research and Development Director of ICCS, Chairman of Vertico, and the member of the ALICE group, which is one of the greatest and most important organizations in Europe.
Sorry, one very short comment, because I didn't have the time to inform you.
Yes.
Angelos will not be with us.
All right.
Unfortunately, he will be. He is already abroad.
Okay.
And Yannis Kanellopoulos will take his place, and
all right.
he's a colleague of Angelos.
Oh, yeah. All right.
And
Nice.
give the presentation instead of him.
Okay, thank you very much for the information. So after Mr. Kanellopoulos will give the first speech, we have Fernando Lieza from the ALICE organization, one of the most important organizations, as I mentioned, in logistics innovation and collaboration. And at the end of the session, we have together with us Mrs. Aifadopoulou. We all know Mrs. Aifadopoulou, which is Research Director of Hellenic Institute of Transport. She's involved in so many projects in European and national projects, and we're really lucky that we have her today with us. Before giving the floor to the presenters, I would like to I would kindly ask them to complete their presentation within 10 minutes. And I would like also to ask the audience to ask questions using the chat tool and mentioning the name of the presenter they refer to. And we will address these questions at the end of the first session. So we start with Mr. Kanellopoulos. Mr. Kanellopoulos, the floor is yours. Mr. Kanellopoulos will present the regulation, the EFTI regulation challenges and opportunities for the Greek market. Mr. Kanellopoulos, please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me express the apologies of Dr. Amditis for not being here with us today. Mr. Amditis actually is traveling to the US now, so it was impossible for him to join our session here. So I will make the presentation instead, and I will be talking about the EFTI regulation, which is the regulation that has been introduced by the European Union and is in force for a couple of years now, and in the next 2 years will become actually active in all member states. So let me give you a little bit an update about what was the reasons that the EFTI regulation was put forward and what are going to be the effects in the next couple of years. So the European Union has identified that the freight transport in Europe has increased by 25% over the last 20 years, but it is expected also to grow by 50% by 2050. The freight movement involves the exchange of a large amount of information, which currently is exchanged in paper format. We have a lot of documents that are still change hands and are required to change hands numerous times before they reach their final destination. And people are sharing these papers instead of accessing a single point in order to be able to access this information and share it without having to undergo all this transport. There was a lack of a legal framework at EU level that was requiring the member states, the public authorities, to accept digital information. And the digital environment, the IT environment that was handling the transport and the movement of information in the supply chain was quite fragmented, and a lot of different pieces of information that was needed from different actors was kept at different places and was not reaching them on time, and we had delays exactly because of the reason that we were using the paper format. How the EFTI regulation came forth. On the 17th of May of 2018, the Commission adopted a proposal to regulate electronic freight transport. This proposal was part of the Europe of the Move package, which was followed by the mobility strategy and for May and November 2017. And was related to the strategy and how this contributes to the objective of making safe, clean, and efficient mobility. On the 6th of June of 2019, the Council finalized that all public authorities would be required to accept electronic information by self-referred platforms, and the companies that would like to use this option in order to submit digital information to the authorities would have to be satisfied. So every public authority is obliged to accept digital information related to freight transport. The final act of the EFTI regulation was published in the official journal of the European Union the 31st of July in 2020, and as every regulation takes 20 days in order to become in force, so by the 20th of August of 2020 was enforced. Now, the EFTI regulation, which the official number is 2020/1056, shall apply from the 21st of August of 2024, which means that we have a little bit of more than 2 years, so that public authorities create all the infrastructure and all the appropriate regulation and anything that's required in order to be able to accept digital information by any EU member, any company that is EU-based that wishes to submit this information electronically. What are the expected benefits according to the studies that have been done up till now for EFTI? First of all, the reduction of administrative costs in transport and logistics. The estimate is that about 27 billion euros will be saved over the next 20 years, which is a little bit more than 1 billion euro per year. There will be improved overall efficiency in the logistics chains, as it will also facilitate the electronic exchange of information between economic operators themselves and not only between the companies and the public authorities. It will allow more efficient enforcement of the freight transport rules in the European Union because of the monitoring capabilities that this will introduce. And will have complementary effects with other initiatives of the European Union, such as the European Maritime Single Window Environment and the Single Window Environment for Customs that are both getting enforced in parallel with the EFTI regulation. What does it mean to have the EFTI regulation in practice? First of all, we have the digitalization of transport information that is related to a number of different transport-related acts, such as the cabotage, the combined transport, the transport of dangerous goods and waste, and the interconnectivity of rail between different countries. The plan is to be extended to all transport means and vehicles, as well as crew-related information, and get all of it digitalized. And I remind you that this is not something that is going to be wishful thinking. It is a regulation of the European Union, and all legal framework for member states should be adapted to it and should be supported. The EFTI is not, though, mandatory for logistic operators, meaning for business-to-business communication, they do not have to use the EFTI format and the EFTI, let's say, certificate platforms in order to exchange information. But since most of the companies that wish to exchange information with public authorities will have to use certified EFTI service providers or platforms, then it is naturally that these directives will also be adopted in due course for the communication between companies themselves. There is, of course, the EFTI regulation foresees an evaluation to make the EFTI mandatory for logistic operators themselves. And once this is done, expected in around 2026 to 2027, to make the EFTI protocol within quotes of exchange communication universal among logistic operators that are operating in Europe. The EFTI platform certification means that any platform that wishes to exchange information with public authorities will have to receive certification from the European Union in order to certify that it is able to exchange this information and keep it safely. It is going to be similar to the concept of the authorized academic operator for those of you that are acquainted with customs and custom blockade practices, where authorized platforms are giving simplified methods of carrying out custom clearances. There will be compliance with the relative legislation that will be introduced in member states and will be compatible with the EFTI regulation. The applicants should not have a criminal history and should be able to keep appropriate records for auditing. The length of the time period, it's not yet determined, but the discussion is that it is going to be for about 10 years. To have financial solvency, so that to be able to make sure that the platform will be in place for at least the auditing period. And there will be appropriate IT infrastructure and security mechanisms that will be able to support the operation of an EFTI certified platform. In our case, what we are currently doing is that we have started creating within a research project and logistics matchmaking platform that is bringing together different routes and different actors. It covers currently 74 ports in the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. And with this platform, we are actually trying to enable the collaboration among logistics operators and logistic actors, both in the demand and the supply part of the logistics chain, so that to achieve, let's say, as much as possible, the reduction of the number of trips and the empty returns that we're having for freight flow around Europe. We have been developing this platform for a couple of years now. We have managed to put an alpha version live, and we plan to start testing it towards the second half of 2022. And any members of ILME that will be able to join us in testing it or giving us any feedback related to it will be more than welcome. So with this, I conclude my presentation about the EFTI regulation. I hope that I stayed within the 10 minutes that were assigned to me. If there are any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Yannis. Actually, it was 8 minutes, 31 seconds, so you are very, very, very good. Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. What do you think, George, about Moses and all this very exciting technology news.
I think it's very important to address such issues that regard to the legal framework, because we must live with all these legal frameworks and institutional frameworks. What was really surprised is the fact that it's not mandatory for logistics operators, and this was one of my questions that I could place. I don't know if these questions will be addressed at the end of the session or now, Konstantinos.
It will be addressed in the end of the session.
Okay, and, okay. I'll keep this question for the end of.
Together with the questions that our audience were going to put, you can use English or Greeks if you want in the questions. Doesn't matter at all. It was a very, very interesting presentation. Thank you very, very much, Yannis.
I remain at your disposal for the questions then during the
we keep you here. Yes, I think you will have some questions. At least one, there is 100% sure.
No problem. You can have as many as you wish.
Now I'm going to call Fernando Liesa. Fernando is Secretary General at ALICE. He is in this story of logistics and innovation for many years. And he is going to introduce in his presentation about achieving transition towards zero-emission logistics in the affordable, that's very interesting, in the affordable way. Fernando, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Haniotis, for the introduction, and ILME for the invitation to me and Alice to be with you and the Greek community. So I will provide a presentation that I'm going to share now. And first of all, I decided to go in this presentation because this is our main goal in ALICE as the Alliance for Logistics Innovation through Collaboration in Europe, and also knowing that Mr. Kanellopoulos was going to address more the digitalization part that is also integral to ALICE, as you will also see in the presentation. So what I will do is to provide a little bit of context where we are in freight transport, logistics and supply chains currently. It's a very complex situation. I will provide a bit of the EU perspective and the different regulations, how things work and what is important to be connected to European regulations and what are the opportunities there. Then I will explain a bit on ALICE and our ambition to support transition to zero emission logistics in an affordable way, and which are the key elements we think are very relevant for this transition. And then as a short-term focus, I think it's really important with all these digital capabilities and potentials that we need to work more on collaboration, sharing, and trying to get this done at zero marginal cost. We cannot collaborate because collaborating is complex and very costly. So then how through the concept of the physical internet, we can really start collaborating in a more easy way, so then we can enable all these inefficiencies. So at the end, I can, you know better than me that logistics and supply chain is on disruptive times. I start with one picture at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, describing different waves and saying, okay, COVID-19 is only a small wave and we can only see this, but others will come. And here highlighted the climate change. And actually, when we look into the regulations and the requirements for climate change to really become climate neutral, then we see here in this picture how the emissions cost per ton on the emission trading system, it's evolving. So then we see in the last couple of years, the cost for emissions has increased very sharp. Of course, this is not affecting still transport, but there are some regulations European level really going on emission trading systems for road and other transportation modes. So then we need to be aware this could impact transportation. Then it's not only that, we also have the problem of truck driver shortage. In many supply chains have been disrupted because of chip shortage, and this created a lot of disruptions in freight transport and logistics. with COVID-19, we had the curve of e-commerce growing. So we have more and more e-commerce. This is creating some stress in the cities to deliver all those parcels and e-commerce, but it's very good for logistics because we are getting more and more part of the business, and that's good, but it's complex to manage this in cities. And then last but not least, I also see that because of the imbalance and many other things that we could get hours speaking about them, we see how maritime container freight rates are multiplied by 10, 15. So then here we see a number of things happening in the last couple of years, and I don't want to name here the current situation in Ukraine and Russia that is really distorting many lives, and that's really sad for everybody, but also many supply chains. But let me concentrate on climate change, and this is very, here in this slide, I want to tell you that it's very clear. We are increasing the average temperature, and this here in the left side, you have the evolution between 1850 and currently we see year by year, we have an increased average temperature. And then on the right side, we see the evolution of greenhouse gas emissions, and we can see, just to share with you the importance and the magnitude of this challenge with COVID-19 crisis that many supply chains were stopped. We could see that still that trend was not enough to reach to the 1.5 degrees path for climate change. So then even if we would have continued that reduction of emissions, we could not have achieved that. So then we see how complex, and then if with the current trend in 8 to 10 years, we are exhaust all our carbon emissions. So then the challenge on climate is not only huge challenge, but also quite urgent that we act very soon. And then looking into this perspective, so then actually we were having all the knowledge in supply chain management. We have a very proper supply chains and all that, but suddenly many rules of that came changed. So then we try to answer to different questions with the same answers, and that's not working. So then here the question is why do we think that the future must look like to the past? We see many disruptions creating a lot of complexity in transportation. So then we need to think a little bit how this will impact in future logistics. So if we go on how, for example, the European Commission is addressing this in 2019, they published the Green Deal, and then the objective was to make Europe the first climate neutral continent by 2050, and they made the climate law. This is, as FT regulation is compulsory for the digital climate law, is telling that every member state in Europe needs to reduce 55% in the emissions by 2030 and become climate neutral by 2050. In order to achieve that, the Commission launched the Fit for 55 package in July 2021 and created a new round of many regulations, including not only FT, but on many aspects like climate, energy, and fuel. So then many things are changing on the regulation side, and also at the end of 2021, the new urban and green mobility package was published. So a lot is going on in Europe, and it's very important what's going on in Europe because there is two ways in which Europe can influence policies. The first one is on all these policies, regulation, FTs, and all that. That's very important, but also with the budget. And here in this slide, you have a background, and you can see this later because you will get the presentation on the sources. So then how much money is going to go on to Greece because of the recovery funds. And then you have also an overview of the many programs in which, for example, Moses has been funded through the Horizon 2020, but there are many other programs that are coming. So then here you have funding available, and what you can get is really funding to address this challenge in a more collaborative way. So then if we go in the last few minutes in ALICE, the Alliance for Logistics Innovation through Collaboration, we are a non-for-profit association based in Brussels. More than 550 people are working for ALICE, but not as employees, but coming from the different companies that are members of ALICE. Here you have a representation of our members. You can see we have representatives of all types stakeholders in logistics and supply chain. You have very recognizable companies here, you all know, but also small companies, and that provides us a very holistic overview and discussion points on any topic we discuss. And then ALICE is European, nothing else, nothing more than European leading companies and experts in implementing logistics and supply chain innovation. It's not ALICE that implements this innovation, it's our companies and together with the research centers that develop, generate the ideas and implement them into the market, moving up and addressing this challenge that we have together. And here what we do in ALICE is really to get the forum to discuss on new concepts, to also influence industry, but also European Commission on priorities, to also share the initiatives of our members and also on research projects like Moses, like are liaised with ALICE, and we have more than 40. And then to enable collaboration. I think collaboration is one of the key words for this, to addressing this challenge. We cannot do them alone. We need to collaborate. And I think ILME, as other associations, is a very good place to collaborate. And this mission is to accelerate decarbonization in an affordable way. So we have 5 different thematic groups and horizontal activities addressing all this, but I will concentrate more on the ALICE roadmap, how we can do this in an affordable way. What we did was to publish our roadmap towards zero emission logistics, and here 2 areas are dedicated to make the assets vehicles more efficient and also the transition on the energies, and this is the current focus. But we truly believe there are 3 other areas as we look into the future. Maybe transport is more expensive. We need to do things so then we can manage the freight demand growth. As Giannis said, it's growing and expected to grow a lot. And then how we can really combine transport modes in a smart way, and how we can really make better use of the assets and vehicles. And then in order to address these 3 areas, we publish our roadmap towards the physical internet, and then our vision is really to freight transport and logistics climate neutral, and physical internet paves the way to achieve this in a transition in an affordable way. And for example, we also have a focus on urban logistics. So my last slide is just to say that collaboration is really important. We need to create frameworks for consolidation of goods, because no company can do this on its own. And for doing that, we need the digital and physical interconnectivity, that it's more focused on the physical internet. And with this physical and digital connectivity, we can enable collaboration and sharing at the minimal or zero setup cost. And then we can get a relief on all these inefficiencies that sometimes are created because of the complexity of collaboration. And that's all on my side. Sorry, I was 1 minute beyond the 10 minutes, but I was planning a little bit longer. And as we said in ALICE, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think organizations like ILME and ALICE are great places to go together. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Fernando. It was a great presentation. Zero emission, well, is something that we have to work together how we can go there. It's not easy, but it's very, very, very interesting. And anyway, we have to, because we have no option not to go there.
Actually, there is no option, and even the biggest players, that some of them are in ALICE and have very strong challenges, they realize they cannot do this alone. So then they are seeking for collaboration. So if the biggest are seeking for collaboration, I think smaller players need to be more collaborative. Yeah. No option.
I invite the 157 participants to use the button there that say chat and put their questions. You don't have much time. The time is clicking. So do it now. George.
So I would like to congratulate Fernando for this very, very nice presentation. There's consensus that we need to design and implement logistics practices within the framework of sustainable development and all zero CO2 targets. And but the road is very long. It's very difficult, but we can deal with it if we collaborate. And this is, I think, the most important key conclusion from Fernando's presentation. So we can move on with Ms. Aifantopoulou, Research Director from Learning Institute of Transport. As I mentioned, we're really lucky that we have her with us today to share her experience from many projects, but today she will present her experience regarding city logistics, which is the way forward and has to do with all these changes in the last mile that we all supply chain managers are aware of today. So, Ms. Aifantopoulou, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can see my screen. Is that correct?
Yes, everything's fine.
Okay, thank you. I'm very happy being, and I would like to thank ILME for this, let's say, invitation. Fernando referred before on this innovation and also the challenge that we have for city logistics and what our cities are looking at as challenges. So I would like to say, to share with you my thoughts about the way forward for the city logistics innovation. I will just say a few things about how city logistics are changing, then how industry-driven innovation is happening in our cities and what are the problems that that industry faces. And then I will refer to city-led innovation for city logistics and how we can achieve it. And a few words about how what is the role of research in innovative city logistics solution achievement. So I think I don't say something new about if I say that the city logistics are changing, the customer things are changing, the people who are ready to follow trends for sustainable buying, they're the same people who are asking for next hour delivery and increasing the number of vehicles that they are supposed to come in our city centers. The logistics service providers, they try to adapt to the demand and at the same time coping with the green transport policy agenda. Fernando mentioned about this. So green modes, testing of new technology for optimizing the operational efficiency are already implemented in our cities. And of course, the cities around Europe, they understand that they have a role which is crucial in order to minimize the CO2 due to the city logistics. So from those that they have really good success, we learn that when the cities become accelerators of the city logistics innovation, then we have the best results in around Europe and around the globe. So what is the industry-driven innovation? Industries are very speedy in adopting innovation, adopting digital solutions. So we have seen consolidation centers and decentralized warehouses with very good results. As you can see, you can read this transparency later with the more information about CO2 reduction. So we see micro consolidation center, we see parcels, new technologies and automation. Of course, we have robot vehicles and modular cars and drones being tested, and also low zero emission fleets, even electric vehicles, of course, but also cargo bikes and zero emission boats in some of the cities. However, how this has been integrated in our cities. There is no regulation for the innovative solution introduction. So cargo bikes, in the same way like e-scooters and e-bikes, they are getting license of operation as economic activities on the road. And there is no administration in the municipalities that they can handle these requests. There is no responsibility for safety and operations, and the coexistence with other activities or constructions like bike lanes or new infrastructure. We experience big constructions in our cities. There is not a framework that guides the implementation of these very brave innovative solutions. There is also a lack of infrastructure design and specifications. And there is a limited availability of urban space that everybody wants to put something, from electric to vehicle chargers until lockers. So you see in this transparency, very nice figures when you have a locker integrated in open urban space, but at the end, the licensing for achieving that is very difficult around Europe. And what we have lockers let's say in other ways or inside the buildings. We also say that we're going to have autonomous automated, but we solutions for logistics, but we have a lack of national frameworks for autonomous automated mobility. So we have pilots, but we can never have a full implementation of these innovative solutions. And at the end, when we design solutions, sometimes we do it in the absence of our users, and then we see limited acceptance. So how we will change this? A good answer to that is to upgrade the role of the cities in the city logistics innovation dynamics. So in a project that we run from Horizon, we call Sprout, we've introduced the city-led innovation. What that means, that we prepare the right condition for embracing the innovation that is coming in a very speedy way from the industry, and we build the capacities in the cities. We create the networks for accelerating innovation. As has already been said, collaboration is important for that. We're harnessing the innovation potential through the appropriate measures and policies. And also at the end, we achieve a paradigm shift and use innovation for better prepare for special conditions. In order to do that, we need, it's not easy for the cities to reach that. So cities until 2030 and 2050, they need to become smart, climate neutral, zero polluted. So we need to have some guidance for them. And our suggestion is that we need to have sustainable logistics plans and also transition to innovation action plans for the cities in order for them to prepare and offering the conditions for common regulation and measures adoption, prioritized actions and capacity in order to develop. There is such a guide, but we're looking forward like the one that you see in this transparency, but we need more about this. So if we are supposed to have city-led innovation for transition on city logistics, we need to focus, cities need to focus to resilient collaborative planning. So together with all the stakeholders to develop regulations, we can have national, but also local or regional regulations for logistics, to look on developing a new generation of infrastructure and support the multimodality. There are a lot of initiatives. You see there, Phoenix and other EU directives that they help to that direction, but we need to make the cities digest all this information and find the way towards the solutions. One additional point, we have this EU policy that says that the freight corridors of EU, they need to be enhanced in order to enter into exit urban areas. So in the past, we were building big warehouses outside the cities. Now we need smaller decentralized warehouses in the cities. And that means that we need to change the urban land use development in our cities. And this is not very easy and usually takes time. So we need to start thinking of that and acting on that. So a few words about the role of the research. The problems are complex. The stakeholders are many. The challenges are high. So what the research can offer the, let's say, the infrastructure for testing, for for creating the links between the industry and the public authorities in order to support the innovation. Here is our aligning list of transport research infrastructure, but I would like you to focus on first the Thessaloniki Smart Mobility Living Lab that we have, a recognized living lab in EU, and also the Smart Mobility Logistics Solution Clusters and the IP by Design Competence Center, where we will invite ILME and the members of the ILME to come and learn more about what they can be their role and contribution to that sense. Thessaloniki Smart Mobility Living Lab and Logistics Living Lab has a lot of services. I will not, you are invited to read and to come back to us and us serve together with the different solutions that we can offer. Thank you, and I stop here. I hope I respected the time.
Thank you, Georgia. Yes, actually, you are 7:20. I think you are the fastest.
New record, yeah.
You are the fastest. Bravo, bravo.
I skipped the research infrastructure, the research role. So I think I invite people to come and to learn more.
Yes, please take the opportunities to join with ILME or without all the capabilities that can offer in Thessaloniki, in this nice area, in the hub or in the different structures, all of you.
Yeah, actually, if I can say, Konstantinos, since I used less time for my presentation, I didn't mention the Thessaloniki Smart Mobility Living Lab as that's for having a discussion on that. But to relate with, you know, a policy initiative, the policy, the EU strategy for zero pollution has as a flagship initiative the use of living labs in order to achieve that, because exactly living labs are the ecosystem approach in order to solve complex problems. So that is something that the EU is also looking forward for as a way of speeding up the process of achieving the objectives, like the ones Fernando mentioned about pollution.
And I would also like to ask to add that these labs within cities are a very great motivation for the city authorities to get involved, because as you said, we need to accelerate innovation, but I think we need to accelerate implementation mostly, so we must focus on the city authorities as well, which are a very great stakeholder in all this effort. And I think, Georgia, you agree with that, because I think technology is there, but I don't know if awareness, city authorities awareness and public authorities awareness is there. So we have to be aligned in such to, let's say, constraints, technology and city authorities awareness. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And actually within, this is why I spoke about the different rhythms of city-led innovation, which is slow, and the industry-led innovation, the driven innovation, which is very speedy. And we need to put these rhythms at the same level and then build the capacity in the cities in order to help and to embrace the innovation. Otherwise, we will continue to have pilots. And the pilots are not the good results of an effort.
Well, Georgia, ILME is, as you know, is here, and we will be more than happy to help on this and try to implement, as George said, policies and practices. So let's go to the Q&A. Actually, George already started this this part.
Yes. So do you want to complete the question to Mr. Kanellopoulos? Because it was a very great presentation, and thank you very much for that. I was really surprised by the fact that logistics operators are not obliged to register in this EFTI. But do you believe that even although this is a fact, these operators will register in order to be aligned with all these future requirements for integrated supply chain management and information flow?
Well, let me give you my perspective on this fact. The driving force behind digitalization is usually the business needs, and the business needs for digitalization is there. The ones that are usually lagging are the public authorities that are willing to accept this information. So by introducing the EFTI and forcing the member states to accept digital information in a specific format, actually the EU is giving the initiative to the member states in order to start complying and start digitalizing and organizing their processes in such a way so that they can collect digital information and be universal in Europe, meaning to be able to exchange information between the various member states without following national frameworks and specifics that are sometimes irrelevant. For this reason, the European Union actually also created the Digital Transport and Logistics Forum, which is a place where all those that have something and in the logistics exchange. They can discuss these issues. And the EFTI is one of the main things that is being discussed over there. Actually, the subgroup 1 is focused on as an advisory board for the EFTI regulation, and the new subgroup 3 is discussing the delegation acts of the EFTI in order to finalize the implementation. And the reason that I selected this subject is to be a bit provocative, because in Greece, we are not doing much in this area. And in 2 years, we will have to prepare everything to be able to adopt to what the FTI needs. And we will end up running with the GDPR, where a few months before the implementation of the GDPR, everybody was trying to implement something to be able to prove that they are protecting personal data. So it was to raise some eyebrows here.
Is the Sirtaki way of doing things?
Last moment, yes. We are running the last moment model, and other countries run the last mile model. So we will deal with this situation, I think, in 1 or 2 years, and we are obliged to comply with all these requirements in any way. But I think that we need to, and this conference is very, very important, because you express all these requirements and you share all these needs, because the last moment model doesn't work always. So we need to prepare from now, and we need to be aware of all these requirements. And so we really thank you for sharing all this very important information with us.
George,
Okay.
can I say a word on that?
Of course.
Okay, especially about the Greek particularity. With Yannis, we are collaborating on a project, on a 10T project, trying to make platforms in logistics being federated, information and everything. And in fact, it's not just the GDPR, we need to develop the culture of data sharing. And we need and also standardization of some processes, of some data exchange. And this culture is not there. And really, we can say that there is the Sirtaki way, or I don't know what way, but we need to build the knowledge and the competence in the industry sector that really this is an urgent matter. They will lose competitiveness if they will not, let's say, collaborate in this extent. And also we need also to make the ministries understand how they need to give incentives in order this to happen.
Thank you, Chair. Very good. Thank you.
Trust is a very, very important issue here, I think. Fernando, you have about 165 Greeks hearing you. What is your best advice for someone that really wants to start his path for the zero emission project in his company? What is your best advice?
First of all, is to understand where is the starting point, and saying which are the main sources of emissions. So then for that, measuring and reporting is key. And there are one of the members of Alice Murphy Center, and they have the GLEC framework to measure emissions, and that's a good starting point. So then you cannot manage what you cannot measure. And then once you have that, I would recommend many members in Alice and outside have looked into our roadmap and really translate that roadmap that is general for their own, and say many ideas here, and maybe some of them are relevant for them, some of them no. And then I think it's also important to start looking into the future, collaborating and realizing, as I said, that many things may change, and looking into the transition, as you said, it's quite complex. There is no technology there that can match the current technologies, for example, on road transport. And when you look not only the technology and the capabilities, but also on cost, pricing, and all that, there is a huge gap between that and what is feasible economically. And by covering that gap, European Commission is getting a lot of taxes or punishing that. So then we had a discussion the other day on Alice, is this increase in prices on oil in Europe conjunctural is going to stay? And for part, it's of course conjunctural, but this is something that we can see in other parts of the supply chain. So then I think prioritizing on how you can be more efficient, collaborate, integrate with your suppliers, customers, really to invest in being more efficient. Currently, it's more to be effective, and you don't care too much on the transportation cost or to be efficient on the cost. It's something, but looking into the problem from a different. So these would be for me the steps companies may do, but starting of course by measuring, reporting, and understanding its own footprint in the different scopes.
Great, thank you very much, Fernando. We have 2 minutes left. George, if you have anything to add?
No, I would like to just to highlight that all three speakers actually mentioned, among others, that there's a great need for a concrete legal framework, and this is very, very important, because I think that the technology runs, pilot project runs with high speed, but the state has to be somehow slower in this adoption in this new environment, in the ever-changing business environment. So one common, let's say, conclusion from all this presentation was that we need a concrete legal framework in order to accelerate all this logistics innovation. And collaboration is another key conclusion, that we can't do anything by ourselves. We need to share knowledge and know-how with others and go all together towards these important targets for sustainability and for zero CO2, but now for economic efficiency as well, because we face all these energy issues today, and we need to identify new solutions now. So we need to combine the environment with economic efficiency and sustainability as well. There's so many issues to deal with, but collaboration and all this sharing of know-how is very critical for all these targets. And we're really pleased to hear all these nice presentations that enlightened all the opportunities for collaboration in the future.
Jos, if I may,
okay.
1 second, if it's possible.
Okay, and then Georgia, who has raised her hand.
Actually, from our perspective in Alice, when you need a regulation, all this climate law and all that is clearly telling us that it's a market failure there, because the market has not been able to cope with. And there we see two types of organizations or companies: those ones that realize on the market failure, but still understand the future is going to go in that direction. So then they advance and they position themselves in the new framework that is going to be created. And by positioning in advance on that framework, they get benefits and they are better prepared. And the others that are going back and they require the legal framework. So then I would really challenge you to really try to push hard for the innovation, implementation of this innovation, and actually to request the actual frameworks you need really to make this happen. So then proactively ask and say, look, we have this challenge, we need this. And this from the industry is very important that we and you share concretely what are the needs to really, but also recognize from industry, these are actual things or actual facts we need to address all together. Yeah, but as that was to be also a bit controversial, but I fully agree with your assessment, George.
Great, Georgia. Your last comment.
To have a question for Fernando. And in fact, Fernando, now that we have all this problem of rising of cost of energy, of false energy, do you believe that we really have good hopes to achieve the decarbonization objectives? I mean, because the Green Deal was never been realistically reaching the goals, or so do you really believe that because of this change, there might be a speed up process towards CO2 free or zero pollutant solutions, and that probably we can achieve the goals not of 2030, but of 2040 and 2050 on time?
My feeling is that all these signals are telling us we need to speed up. And the more we are waiting to create the sustainable solution, the more vulnerable we'll be with many situations as the one we have now. And this is a clear example why we need to advance very fast to renewable, to decentralized energy sources, to get this into our transportation system, so we get rid of all our dependencies, vulnerabilities, and all that. The more we are looking into this as something to postpone those objectives, the more we'll be vulnerable in future. So then it will only be getting the problem bigger and getting us more vulnerable. So there are two ways, of course, and I agree. People may think this could delay, but if we delay, we'll be more vulnerable. So then it's either we go a step forward and we really do what we need to do, or we will still be moving or dancing the song many other economies are willing us to dance. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you answered, Fernando. I mean, your answer is highlighting that the whole issue becomes much more complex. So disruptions may occur from different purposes, and having the dynamics and the reflection to adapt our logistics and the solutions. It's the most important thing for the success, which means also the regulation needs to be quickly adapted. So it's a very, very challenging ways. So, but interesting ways, interesting periods. Okay, thank you, Fernando. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Yannis. You were great, and hopefully we're going to speak a lot in the near future.
Sure.
Thank you, Ansbor. We have to go on to the second session. Thank you.
Thank you very much again for the invitation. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with our second session, focusing in the Greek market. And hearing also for distinct speakers, their approach about innovation, about technology, about training, about collaboration. Are we ready from our back office? Okay. Here we are. George, let's introduce.
Yes, we announce Lydia Tsiouka from Wings ICT Solutions, who's going to present the robotic and artificial intelligence systems for smart warehouses, factories, and modern transportation corridors. So, Lydia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Just give me a second to open my presentation.
Yes, Lydia, don't worry.
Okay, Lydia.
Robotics and artificial intelligence, very interesting topic. We are in the future already.
We're running the future now, eh?
Yes. we are in a very, very interesting time of period for logistics, I think. We go from the logistics of the backyard to the high-tech logistics. Right, George?
Yes, you are very, very right. And these high-tech solutions have to be incorporated in this sustainable development framework as well. And this framework is aligned with all this information flow effectiveness. So we need robotics, we need high-tech solutions, we need all these technologies in order to be smarter, faster, and more effective. So Lydia will contribute to this know-how, and she represents Wings, which is a very important company that runs many projects, European and national projects regarding these technologies. So Lydia, I think you're ready now to present.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
I think I have a technical issue with my presentation. I don't know if you can see my presentation or not. Just give me one further minute. I will try
yes,
again.
yes, that's great. Our back office, our
high-tech back office.
Second plan solution. Do we have a second plan? Do we have the presentation in order to help Lydia? Mary, help. Okay. Technology sometimes is betraying us, but that happens anyway. It comes with the technology.
Sorry, I just have to restart my PowerPoint. Is it
possible? Yes, do it, Lydia. Don't worry. We can go to the, if you want, we can go to the second and come back in a few minutes with you. Okay, that's
Thank you very much. Sorry for the...
Okay. Let's go to the second one.
Okay, so Lykourgos Manoliadis from Diakinesis, General Manager of Diakinesis Logistics Services, is going to present us a user's manual for sustainability logistics. So a very, very modern subject. So Lykourgos, if you're ready,
thank you,
the floor is yours.
You have promoted me. I'm the debut general manager, and I believe that the general manager.
You deserve to be general manager. That's why.
No.
George is an oracle. He can see the
future.
Oh, come on.
Exactly.
That's great for you. Thank you. So thank you very much. I'm very proud to be here and happy to participate in this conference. It's an excellent conference. And I would like to share my thoughts about a very, very hot and very interesting topic, which is sustainability. Let me share my screen.
Great, we can see.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
So I'm always keen on starting with some figures, and actually echoing Fernando's presentation, I would like to share with you some metrics just to have a clear picture of the topic. So in the first chart, we can see the CO2 emissions the last 80 years. And if we consider that 80 years for the environment, for the planet, it's a quite short period. So in 1940, we produced 5 billion metric tons of CO2 emissions. Now we have exceeded 35. You can understand that the difference, it's a huge difference. And if we take into consideration that almost 30% of the world CO2 emissions comes from us, from logistics, we need to do something about that. So take that tip into consideration. Well, representing the 3PL sector, I would like to point out why the 3PL providers are proceeding with initiatives related to sustainability. First of all, all this data come from a study conducted a few months ago. So, first is not surprise, the cost reduction, mainly coming from fuel and energy consumption. 90% of the replies were mentioned cost reduction purposes. Second one, 60% as a marketing tool to attract new clients, and part of that is also the new RFP requirements coming from potential clients. Half of the questions have replied that they do that for. And for our clients, the current clients that we serve, part of the KPIs reporting and some of the requirements. So we can see that all these are business reasons and related mainly to cost and marketing. I'm not sure that as a 3PL provider, we are doing all these actions for the good reasons. So let's keep that in mind. I will now move to the good, the bad, and the ugly of sustainability. And by good, I mean all the positive outcomes that we can find, we can undertake from sustainability actions. By bad, I mean all the difficulties and the obstacles that we have to overcome. And by ugly, I mean the bold decision that we have to take in order to proceed with sustainability initiatives. The good, first and most important one, make the difference in the environment. The second is to reduce costs. Why not? Maybe in the long run, not directly, not immediately, but if we implement sustainability actions, we will for sure reduce some costs. To take advantage of the funding and the tax motivations that are currently given in or worldwide, actually, and the opportunities. There are opportunities there to renew our fleet. No need to mention that we have the most old vehicle fleet in Greece. 21 years old is the average age of our vehicles compared to 13 all over Europe and 8 to Central Europe. So we have to do something about that. It's an opportunity to renew our vehicles, our fleets, to use new technologies, okay, replace the old ones with new, and perform restructuring, change the way of thinking. Sustainability can do that. The difficulties. Well, it could be an obligation in 2030. Fernando had spoken widely about that. The big, if not huge, investors are needed, for sure. A lot of money, and the cost is quite high for these actions. Unfortunately, we only focus on cost-benefit solutions, not solutions for the environment in general, but mainly the cost-benefit ones. And some goals might be misleading. And for example, we talked about city logistics. We heard about e-commerce. The number of vehicles that we use is increasing. On the other hand, we are trying to reduce the CO2 emissions per vehicle. So for the first hand, we have the increase of the total vehicles needed to distribute products. And on the other hand, we need to reduce per vehicle. So this misleads a bit. And the bold decision we have to make. We have to change our business model. It's not that easy. We have to keep a high level of motivation to our employees. And last but not least, related to our clients. Our clients want to change, but are they willing to support that? Well, not all of them. Now, a few actions that we can perform, relatively easy, common actions, cost-effective actions that we can implement. First of all, to choose energy coming from renewable sources. There are companies that can support that. Use eco-friendly lighting systems, LED lighting and tunnels. Optimize packaging, a huge project in logistics. We have to reduce the carbon footprint and the packaging, optimize the packaging. Now we are in the position to build higher warehouses, so to utilize the overall volume, the space needed for a warehouse. Recycle all materials, not only carton and stress film, but also metal, glass, whenever it's used. And to implement strategies, simple strategies, like the 4R strategy, reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover, or this from warehouse perspective. And in transportation, again, some actions there, to use a tracking software systems for CO2 emissions. There are tracking systems that can support and not only measure, but also track, optimize the routing to reduce, to lower the fuel consumption, overall fuel consumption, to maximize the utilization of our vehicles, the capacity of our vehicles, to use alternative vehicles. Johan's mentioned about that, electric and hybrid vehicles. It's a hot topic again. Electric vehicles are coming into our lives. There are solutions now. And again, to set some goals and some objectives as in the warehouse. Now, I will close with the requirements and challenges that we will face in the near future. The first is create an energy autonomous warehouses. Mainly through solar panels, we can produce energy and we can use this energy for all our activities, all of our needs. The second is to use only 100% recycled materials. Again, the challenge. And the most difficult one is to be a carbon neutral company. Not to create zero emissions, but to be a neutral company. This means that we should keep a zero effect between the carbon we release to the environment and the actions that will result to carbon reductions. So in a nutshell, the amount of CO2 that we release would be equal to the amount that we reduce. And in fact, I would like to close with that. This is the most challenging target. Be a carbon neutral company. It might take some years from now, but it is our obligation in order to save our planet. Thank you. I think that I was on time. And I'm at your disposal for any
It was perfect. It was less than 8 minutes.
Good.
You were perfect. And you introduced actually what Fernando said into the Greek environment, and you did in a great way. It was very clear. And please use the, how did you say it? The instructions, the
user manual, yes.
The user manual that Lykurgos present us. Lydia, are you ready now? Hello, Lydia. I cannot hear you. You are muted. Sorry.
Hello. I will just give it a try. Just give me 1 second. I will try to open.
Okay. Great. The experiment worked. We have results. Oh. We lost again the picture. Don't worry, Lydia, don't worry.
Mrs. Tsuka, maybe we could share it. Maybe we could share your presentation so that it's
yes, please, Katerina. Katerina, can you do that?
Yes, Mary will do it. She has the presentation
great.
now, so
Great. Lydia, don't worry. We have the second, the second best plan. Okay, ready.
Okay.
We are in logistics, so we are ready.
We're prepared.
Okay, we're agile and flexible.
Exactly.
And we can adapt.
So,
to
Katerina, if you can share it,
can you share it?
Great.
Do you receive it?
Ms. Tsuka, have you sent it to Mary Kanavaki? She said she doesn't have it yet.
Okay. Oh, sorry, it's still.
Okay, let's go to Thanos.
Okay,
Lydia, let's go to Thanos and come back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we have Thanos, Mr. Thanos Gavropoulos together with us. Is a regional logistics manager for South Europe of Colgate Palmolive. We know all we know Colgate Palmolive. And it is our great pleasure to hear from him. Please, Thanos.
Hello, good afternoon from me. I'm very glad to be here with you and the logistics partners. Well, I have been working all my life managing providers, logistics providers for multinational companies. So today I'm going to summarize at high level what the expectations of big companies are from the logistics providers. I have grouped in 4 clusters these expectations and what a customer needs from the provider is the cost to be competitive, the service to be reliable, to be agile, flexible, got some experience of this today, and to have a sustainable presence and bright future looking at it to evolve. You will notice that in my presentation, I have highlighted some points in red, and these are the points where the 3PLs can be improved. They are new requirements, and they can give more to us. Let's start now with the cost, and as we said, everybody is expecting the best cost, and to achieve that, synergies is one of the best ways, and this is required to start with from big companies, multi-user warehouses, synergies with other shippers to share resources, space, and the trucks so that everything is optimized and utilized in the best way. This cost, though, has to be improved, cannot stay fixed every year, has to be something better, cost and service. So continuous improvement is important, and this has to be a mentality embedded in the organization of the 3PL. So the 3PL must have its own internal processes to reach continuous improvement. And you notice this is the first point I have highlighted in red, is that we need to see more about that from the 3PLs. Of course, the big companies have their own expertise, and they cooperate with the 3PLs in workshops that can create projects and savings. So the 3PLs have to be open to collaborate into this effort. And then KPIs are needed, detailed KPIs, focused on where the activities of the continuous improvement are. And at the end, hopefully, we will enjoy savings that they have to be shared in a way so that also the invested time can be equalized to what the effort was. So gain sharing mechanism is something to be worked about this effort. And it's the first win-win situation we can see here. Now, cost has to, for big companies, have to be under good control. So transparency of charges is needed with analytical backups monthly, using activity-based costing models. And also the annual rate increases have to be based on models and by activity and the parameters that affect each activity. For example, handling activity, let's say, is affected by 70% by labor, and labor gets increases by average inflation annually, or average salary increase. So cost model is quite good practice to avoid any disputes also annually, and have a normal way of passing to the next step. And also lately we have seen that open book is used for this effort. Now, beside cost, first priority for every company is the service that they receive and give. It's the same thing at the end. So for warehouse, it is required that the workload, they have to complete daily, it's ready on time and without mistakes. And to operate in the warehouse, you need always a very powerful WMS system. You need interfaces for online exchange of data with the provider and the shipper. And now that information technology is quite rich in applications, there are a lot of supportive systems that the provider has to be equipped with, like slot booking, appointment management, planning of the workload daily, and watching live of it, how it is adhered to the schedule. Of course, the warehouses must have their own internal quality program, SOPs, and KPIs focused on the activities they have to improve, like mistakes, stock accuracy, etc. Now, on the side of distribution, again, they have to deliver on time and without any missing product or damages, and to serve the whole areas where each company is active, like the whole country. So they need a complete distribution network. And as providers, it's not feasible to have 100% own fleet to serve all these customers they have. They use subcontractors, and also they need to manage them in the best way. And the subcontractors must have the same standards as the provider, because we are as good as our worst supplier or subcontractor. That's an old logistics proverb. Yes, cross-docking platforms also give flexibility, and to manage all this, you need a very powerful, again, transportation management system with capabilities that can reach up to control tower 4PL. Behind the scenes, you need a very responsive customer service department to facilitate the communication with the endpoint, the receiving point, and also take corrective actions if needed. To follow up, we have great track and trace tools anymore. Trucks are geolocated. There are applications, mobile applications that even drivers can carry and confirm status and provide feedback with pictures of documents. And we know now that we have a visibility of what time we can reach the endpoint. We know if we are late, how much time is left. So applications that are really helpful at the moment are to have a proactive information about the delay before it happens, so that the customer service can contact the end customer and rearrange an appointment or so. Then proof of delivery. Digital archiving are standard tools used anymore, and service. In order to have the service under control, the company and the provider must have monthly performance reviews, and the provider has to respond to that, taking actions according to those. And at the end, a bonus-malus scheme is a very good practice. Bonus, reward to be given whenever there is performance above expectations. A malus when it is below, so that everybody is aware and comply to the requirements. This is another win-win situation that can be achieved here. Cost and service is not the only thing. What is expected by the provider is agility and flexibility. Nowadays is very much required. In the market there is, in the environment, there is big ambiguity, unexpected events, and big fluctuations of workloads. So the provider must be equipped with backup resources to cover these fluctuations on labor, space, and trucks. And for unexpected events, a ready team, crisis management team, and procedures to face those, to be reactive. And also the market is changing. The market is having new requirements. We used to have pallet product, now slot booking appointments, different shelf life by recipient that has to be cut. And we have the e-commerce entering and giving new rules, new requirements, more strict requirements. So the 3PL must be very agile to adapt to these new requirements. And not only to provide the core business services like warehousing distribution, but if you work with a provider, then under the same umbrella, you need peripheral services, more end-to-end peripheral services. For example, co-packing within the same building of your warehouse, VMI, managing hazardous temperatures, sensitive medicinal products. And it can reach up to having the capability of the provider to lead projects of collaboration between multiple shippers. For example, coordinate different shippers to ship the same time, same receiving point in a full track with smaller orders and more frequent orders by shipper, but optimizing the track and the replenishment of the products. So this can be a win-win and win situation also for the retailers, let's say. Lastly, the cluster of sustainability and evolution. Here we mean to have a provider who is healthy financially and operationally. No surprise with the existence of the supplier. And another requirement is to improve, evolve in the future. So to achieve that, the big companies are placing a lot of controls and audits, and the 3PL must be ready to accept, collaborate, and cover any gaps that are identified there in these audits, like financial, accounting audits, quality standard audits, security, safety, etc. And the 3PL must be ready to protect their company and must prove that they have contingency plans for a business continuity of their company. As far as the sustainability of the environmental one, we know that everybody, and we heard also the Kurus earlier, every company wants to demonstrate and communicate the results they are having on this direction, which is a must in reality. The same is expected by the providers. Provider must be following, measuring their own footprint, zero waste, and they must use renewable energy, etc. And as far as the future, more is needed, the expertise on technology. And I believe most 3PLs are quite good on that. But what I noticed that it's lacking the mentality of innovation. It is lacking the mentality of experimenting on new things, like high bay rack, like autopilot forklift trucks, guided vehicles, robots, use of digitalization, more paperless processes, big data, and even virtual presence. That for example, the managers of the companies that are customers of the provider, they don't need to be there to see the warehouse. They can be virtual, as most of us we are lately. And to do this, what is required? It is required investment and good expertise in technology. So the 3PS must start looking on long-term contracting, which is good for them, so that they can support the investments. But at the same time, they must be ready and calculate well what they can give in return, which are savings, annually improvements, etc. So that to secure the evolution in the future. So I'm closing here with the summary that for a bright future, the basic requirements are to focus on cost, service, be agile, and have sustainability and evolution for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thanos. That's quite a presentation. Probably you have a lot of questions now in the minds, at least, of potential logistics services providers. Quite demanding.
Yes, and the providers, I think they are passing to the next era lately. We see the evolution. They cannot do any differently, but it is a big challenge that all of us we have to require more sustainability, more automation, etc. And in order to cope, we have to follow. We have to follow and experiment more.
Great, thank you, thank you. I have already 2 questions for you, but I will refrain for the end.
Okay.
I think we all have questions for Thanos. It was a really provocative, let's say, provocative presentation with with very positive conclusions. So are we ready with Lydia to move on with Lydia's presentation?
Hello, Lydia. Hello, Katerina.
Okay, so we move on. Mary, tell us to move on with our next presenter. This is Konstantina Christopoulou, Logistics Manager of Pfizer LAS and EMEA Supply Chain, who is going to present us the partner.
You can hear me now.
Excellent. So
allow me to share my screen, and I hope there won't be any problem with this either.
We hope to.
It's okay now?
Yes, excellent. Yeah.
Good, yeah. Perfect.
Great.
Well, once again, thanks a lot for introducing me twice, and thanks for the invitation and the opportunity to speak to the International Logistic Forum. My presentation will focus on how business can become a force of good, a force for a sustainable environment. I'm going to briefly explain how Chiesi Group and Chiesi LAS in particular develop a short and long-term sustainability plan with externalities that affecting not only the microenvironment of pharma business, but the entire universe of business which interact with our company, and subsequently the positive effect of it to the society and to the environment. But before I go, that allows me to sort of give you an overview of Chiesi Group and Chiesi LAS. We are almost a 90 years old company, privately owned, one of the few companies, pharma companies, multinational, that they are not in the stock market. We have we have more than 6,000 employees worldwide and 85 here in Greece, and we have a direct presence in 30 countries, but we are operating in total in almost 60 countries. We are focusing in 3 therapeutic areas. First of all is the air, which is mostly for respiratory, like COPD and asthma. In care and special care, as we said, which is neonatology, cardiology. And last but not least, for the last 3 years, we have developing a new therapeutic area, a new meaning in our business, the rare disease, which are not focused that much on the volume, but it's quite an interesting therapeutic area with many diseases that they cover a high unmet need. And of course, we are focusing a lot with R&D. We have an in-house R&D, and we are always investing and try to find new therapies for our patients. Having said that, I will let's move on to the matter of this presentation. We all know the traditional business entity, one who seeks exclusively for profit, to maximize its profit, as we all know and learn. Also, we have companies like NGOs in which profit are out of scope, focus only in social value. Here in Chiesi, we try to reinventing the way we do business. We have developed a hybrid business model in which we operate to create a benefit for both our shareholders, but also for the society, a shared value, as we say, balancing between profits and societal value. Of course, we need profit. We need profit to invest, to be competitive, but not on the expense of our society and our environment. The main reason I would say that this has been achieved, which is quite a structural change for Chiesi Group and Chiesi LAS, was through the B Corp certification. And allow me to let you know that this is not just another certification. We have heard about a lot of fancy words and fancy certifications, but Big Corp certification requires a deep cultural and operational transformation and significant financial investments from our side and any company that would like to be part of this movement. We started in 2018 and certified it in 2019. And I also need to mention that only 3% achieve certification from all the companies that they are trying, entities that they are trying to certify. Now, allow me to moving on to the next slide. The assessment is conducted by the global prestigious and independent HCO called BLab and focus on 5 pillars in terms of assessment and evaluating each company that would like to be certified. It's the governance of a company, let's say, for example, the ethics and the vision that requires for a company to operate, its employees, the ways they work, the satisfaction level, the quality of their life while on the work environment, the community, how we can care and give back to the society, and the level of and how we do that. Of course, the environment, which is also Chiesi one of the biggest focus, and of course the climate change. And last but not least, the customers. Actually, how we do business, how we operate. And I will let you know more about that in my last slide, which I also find it interesting also for this specific forum. We're the largest pharmaceutical company to be certified as a Big Corp, as I said before, and considering that more than 100,000 companies across all sectors, independent of pharma, are trying to get the certification, but only 3% achieves that. Being part of this movement is rewarding, and we're really proud for this achievement. And I think that it's keep us motivated to do even more and try to keep the certification, which is really difficult. Moving on, for us in Chiesi, sustainability, as you may understand, has become a part of our DNA. It's in our core values, and we couldn't exclude writing that down, considering it as an unofficial part of our bylaws, our sustainability manifesto, which details our vision and aim for a better world, starting from us and reaching out to all the entities we interact, from local communities to customer, governmental bodies, and so on. Now, how this vision, we put it in practice. There are many organizations that state that they are in favor and they are trying for a sustainable environment that we all want to change, but how we move from words to actions, how we move to a concrete plan. Actually, we have a great basis in the fight for sustainability, and that is the formal Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, the SDGs. United Nations has identified 17 goals, areas actually, to engage for sustainability. And in Greece, we have, after a cross-functional analysis within the organization, we have identified 9 of them. And our actual plan is based on these areas and focus on how we can improve this. For example, 13, which is the climate actions, and I will let you know more in a while. Now, as the most important goal for us, we have identified the achievement of carbon neutrality. Many speakers before mentioned that, and I would like also to briefly comment on this. And this is an important goal also for our global, for Chiesi Global, but also locally here in Chiesi Hellas. We want to become carbon neutral by 2030 on direct emissions, and by 2035 on total emissions, including all indirect. Now, why I say I give this date? Because Paris Agreement mentions carbon neutrality should be achieved by 2050. But as you may see, our goals were more ambitious and committed to do that earlier. I will now give you some examples of how we try to achieve and how, from our perspective and our side, we try to to create to achieve carbon neutrality. More particularly, and as the most characteristic example from our side is our position and effort toward F-gases minimum environmental impact. I told you before, we're in the therapeutic area of respiratory, so we have inhalers. You all know the standard inhalers for asthma and COPD patients. Patients use these inhalers to relieve from their symptoms and to have a better quality of life. However, these inhalers contain F-gases, these propellant gases, which evidence has stated that they have an impact to the environment and to the greenhouse effect. I need to mention that even though these inhalers are accountable only for 0.001% of the greenhouse effect, for example, air conditioners are considered the highest impact to this phenomenon, and the 0.01% that I told you is not just a rough estimation, because we have done collaborations with academians and university in order to quantify exactly the impact of inhalers to the environment, and particularly the F-gases and the propeller. However, as I said before, we want to minimize this even low impact. Therefore, we have invested more than 350 million in order to bring new generations of inhalers that contain propellers with lower impact than the one that it's using currently. And you know, it's quite a sensitive topic, because these new generation inhalers need extensive clinical program to ensure not only the environmental impact, but also that the patient will preserve their choice of their therapy, and they will have the same standards when we deliver, their therapy. Now, another project, another good example, an ambitious local project, it's the better bidding. We do our best to minimize unnecessary use of our resources. We measure, we assess our energy daily, our energy consumption, our water consumption, our waste, the way we arrive in the building, like transportation, so, and also the air quality that we have in our building for our employees. By the way, all these metrics are necessary also for the big corp assessment. That's why this is also for us a motivation to keep us have these metrics, these KPIs, and all the time try to improve them. I comment again this certification because I want to clarify that it's not an easy process, but requires reforms and continuing work from our side, and of course new ways to improve ourselves in the way that we deal with our energy consumption. And I mentioned it before, last but not least, we have developed the suppliers code of conduct. As a big corp company, we do not want to act only as a good of force, as I said in the beginning, but also as a source of inspirations for the rest of the business world and society. Therefore, we have set high standards with the companies that we interact and we do business. The Code of Independence, which is implemented across the entire supply chains, and our collaborations with external suppliers require from our suppliers to follow specific standards and policies regarding sustainability. The way they do business, someone say that it's their job, and of course it's their job, but the impact of this business to our planet becomes our goal as well. So we want to push and influence our world to do better together with us, with actions over words. We have detailed questionnaires assessing our suppliers in the way they deal with their waste, is their recycling plan, and other aspects that are affecting the sustainability of our local societies. Now, I believe that briefly I illustrated some characteristic example of how we are rewriting the way we do business, how we actively care about tomorrow, and how we try to bring today the tomorrow sustainability goals, as I say before, Paris Agreement. We know that we are living in a planet that its health affects everyone. Our perception is that only together and through a holistic approach, that's why I mentioned a lot society, environment, together with business, we can make the world better. So I hope this presentation was useful and inspiring regarding sustainability, and thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much, Elias. Great. Yes, it was very inspiring about sustainability. Sustainability, it comes all during our discussions today. We are going back to Lydia, that I think she is ready now. Are you ready, Lydia? Hello, Lydia?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so thanks for the patience. Thanks for the introduction. And thanks for sure for the opportunity to share with you what we're doing in Wings ICT Solutions. I was looking forward for this presentation because we have done some very exciting solutions lately, and I think that sometimes when you're too anxious and eager to show things, technology fails you a bit. But here we are. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Lydia Tsuk. I'm the sales director for Wings ICT Solutions, and today I'll share with you how our research and development in the areas of 5G, robotics, artificial intelligence has led us to develop smart solutions for warehouses, Industry 4, and modern transportation corridors. Who are we in Wings ICT Solutions? We are a Greek innovations company. We are getting bigger at a good rate. Right now we are 150 people, mainly specialists and technologists with expertise in areas like Internet of Things, wireless technologies, cloud, big data, AI, and areas like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and robotics. We are we are distinguished in getting in R&D, and this comes from our engagement and very successful engagement with European projects like Horizon. And this research has led us to develop vertical solutions in specific areas. These are environment. We're talking about air quality, how we can measure real time and evaluate the quality of air, and also detect situations like fires, etc. How we can put smarts and intelligence in modern networks like water, gas, and energy networks. How we can make buildings and infrastructures like parking smarter. We put intelligence in production systems with smart solutions for aquaculture, precision agriculture, and food safety. And what we're going to discuss further in today's discussion is our solution in Industry 4 and how these solutions can transform logistics in a way of automation, optimization, security, and cost reduction. And last, the area of service sector, where we have solutions for remote support for health solutions for citizens. Our products are based in four, let's say, technologies, four technology pillars. So the solutions that we are developing, we develop devices, Internet of Things devices that can be put in the field and transmit using all technologies, telecom technologies like 5G, 4G. Now we're talking about 6G, and we're participating in projects that formulate what's coming in 6G. The applications that we're developing leverage AI in a way that we create digital twins for the applications that we have developed. We create machine learning algorithms that evaluate and give insight useful insight from the data that are collected. And last but not least, we create useful and intuitive visualization and advanced interfacing so that the applications are supporting the end goal in the best way. Now speaking about Industry 4 and logistics, I will not spend a lot of time about the challenges because so far it has been discussed quite, they have been highlighted, but we cannot agree more than with the previous speakers that global changes, threats and with the pandemics and there is a lot of pressure in optimization, and also there is not a wish for optimization. There is a need for optimization. Either we talk about performance or safety or sustainability. You talked before about net zero carbon emissions. So optimization is a must. Human resources, and this is a topic that we're going to see further in the next topics, is a challenge. To resource the right people, to engage them, to help them use be productive in the working environment, etc. Of course, global events, and of course, the requirement for end-to-end transportation. How we see these challenges addressed by what we're doing. Our platform Wings Chariot is an end-to-end solution that can first help to automate the transportation of pallets and freight and goods that are in a modern warehouse. We use the technologies of autonomous vehicles, and of course we can use robots and other as is best fit to automate the moving and optimize the moving of goods inside the warehouse. But the solution gets as I said, is end-to-end, and we can monitor the freight transportation in a modern, how we say, 5G corridors, because we can use onboard sensors and devices where we can monitor the conditions that these goods are being transported, and also support initiatives like you mentioned in previous presentations, like data exchanging, collaboration with other entities, etc. What we do here, you have a very high-level functional architecture in terms of intelligent warehouse. We are addressing the requirements for an automation in the warehouse. So we're talking about autonomous vehicles automation. We're talking about human to AGV collaboration, like functions like Follow Me. Storage optimization, how we can leverage the data that is collected to create optimization strategies in terms of storage and order, of course. The same goes for the smart transportation part of the solution, that goes for the delivery and cargo services, monitoring of the vehicle and the conditions that are happening, and driver assistance. Here we have a very nice picture of a warehouse. Actually, this is the warehouse of the Akimesis. The Akimesis is the biggest, if I'm correct, the biggest third-party logistics company in Greece, and we are very happy to have been working with the Akimesis in this project, and thank also Mr. Elukrou Manouliadis, who was previously discussing, presenting. What we're doing here is that we're automating, we're coordinating the autonomous vehicle with the purpose, with the goal to transport pallets from areas of receiving to the areas of storage, and also the other way around, but also support the human to autonomous vehicles collaboration for functions like Follow Me. This solution, if you go on the road, as I said before, supports with the use of technology with onboard units, can support the technologies like end-to-end remote monitoring and control with real-time, driver assistance and shipping route optimization, vehicle status monitoring, and other use cases. If we go back in to see how we can monitor and check the autonomous vehicles, we can see here user interface, but it's best to see how actually this is working. And this is actually a video from the Akinesis. This is a warehouse. What we're going to see is a worker that is starting an assembly of an order. This order is for a pharmaceuticals. Usually these orders combine products from different manufacturers. So the way that this works is that the worker has to collect different products from different places in the warehouse. What we have achieved is that the robot gets the order, the task from the worker, and actually follows to complete this task, follows the worker so that the order can start to be assembled. From a technology point of view, this is feasible because of 5G technologies. 5G technologies makes available the low. We don't have a delay, so that we can have a worker and a machine collaborating in a safe environment. What we see now is a 3D model of the warehouse. The worker actually selects the spot that the AGV will send. Will drive the order. This is the spot for the order to be inspected and put for shipping. And this is how we can actually automate and help with to be more productive in the process of order picking with the follow me function. What we accomplished, and I think that this is this has a lot of future, is do a simulation, what we call a digital twin concept, with the data that we can collect from the warehouse, and the vectors that we have tested are storage location optimization, picking route optimization, transport route optimization, etc. This can help us, in a nutshell, can help us make a warehouse of the wished size, of the size that we need in order to accomplish our goals. What are the resources? What are the capacity? What is the capacity? What do we need in order to have the warehouse to be able to address specific requirements and demands. This is what the digital twin concept and the AI has opened up to us as a technology to use. If we're talking about improvements in terms of KPIs, and especially I have selected productivity, these are quite important. If we, in a nutshell, we can say that 33% of resource utilization can be saved and be repurposed in different and more useful and more useful tasks. Going forward to the digital twin interface, we have also developed a very interesting 3D interface for a modern industrial environment. And what we see here is the robots, 3 robots that are Yes, actually, we're seeing 3 robots that are in a place that the first robot is going to pick an item using image recognition. We're doing a quality check on the product, and the robot decides based on the quality if the product can be sent, is okay and can be sent to shipping, is sending a meeting request with the robot number 2, and they're exchanging the product, which then goes to the place for shipping. The other route was going to be followed if the product was not defective. What we see is in real time on our left hand, the cameras in the place and also in on the robots, and how we see with zero delay the actual environment. This is what we can achieve with technologies like digital twin, robotics, 3D user interfaces, and also we can use virtual reality for as this system is virtual reality capable, so that we can have an either more intrusive, neither more intuitive user interface for the people that operate the space. This was a glimpse of the technologies that we have developed, and we are using in right now in the areas of Industry 4. We have a lot of expertise and people experts in 5G, Internet of Things, AI, and we have also, and we develop a lot our understanding of transportation and logistics sector. And as a company, we are very eager in getting involved with you in similar projects that can make use of the technology to produce to have more productive and smart transportation and logistics environments. This was my presentation. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Quite interesting and quite technology-oriented again presentation. Great. We are going to move to one friend and also vice president. Sorry. We have Benedict Schroeder in the line. Benedict is managing director of the ELA European Logistics Association. He is going to give us a brief presentation about ELA. You remember that ILME is a member of ELA, of the European Logistics Association. So, Benedict, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me too.
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you very, very well. So, you are welcomed here in Greece. You are in Madrid, I think, huh?
Yes, I'm right now at Madrid in the airport because tomorrow is a European organized conference between the European Union and the Central America delegation. So I'll attend there, and therefore I'm joining you from Madrid.
Okay, Benedict, the floor is yours. Can you share your presentation?
Yes, of course. I'm on it. I hope everybody is seeing my presentation.
Yes, we see it. That's fine.
Perfect. So thank you very much. It is an honor to speak to you today on behalf of ILME. ILME and ELA are long-standing and outstanding friends. And yes, this is a great opportunity for ELA as well. So let me guide you through my presentation. ELA is an international non-profit organization. We were established almost 30 years ago in 1984. And we are the headquarters for the European Federation of National Logistics Association. So one of our pillars is actually logistics as its best, as its finest. The other pillar ELA has is education. And with this together, we will reach about European logisticians in all over Europe, with about 50,000 logisticians and about 22 members. As you can see, Germany, Greece, Hungary. Right now, we try to develop a network within South and Central America. So maybe Europe can profit from this development. Regarding the pillar of education, ELA has developed the ELA standards, with this basically a logistics knowledge framework recognized by the industry. The aim behind that is to educate young and professional minds so they can get their certificate, which will be accepted in all over Europe. These standards are developed by ELA, and they are high quality standards. So this is where our educational tools, I will come later to it, are based on. As you can see, the European Investment Bank used our standards in their projects, as well as the World Bank uses them to define the logistics performance indicator for a lot of countries. And also the United Nations have realized some project based on our standards. So they are valid and they hold up against a lot of other things. So we're very proud of, and also, as I said, I will come to Greece as a member, and we're very proud of that. You can enjoy these education in Greece as well with our partner ILME. So we have, I won't say several products, but you have the possibility to get the ELA certification via a lot of different possibilities. First of all, we have the AJ-log, with the European Junior Logistician and the European Senior Logistician as our main certificates, which will prove that you have the knowledge in your field of competence in logistics, and you also have the background from the universities. We also team up with the universities itself so that their students can get part of our master, which says, okay, you have now your bachelor or master degree. You have 5-year time to get to know the job of a logistician, 3 years, and then you can apply for the full certificate, which is again the ES, EM log and EJ log you see in the front. But we also have a corporate approach in this. So I can train you as a trainer while you can train your members or your employees about this. So this is also within our framework. And also the modules you see here on the right, you can also do these single, if, for example, you just want to get to know more about transport or warehousing, you can also do these single modules with us. As I said, this is something we offer for all of Europe. We offer for all companies. So I can just say also to you, please check ILME. They offer this for your country. It is a very, very interesting program. We have developed a long-standing relationship. This works very well, and it is an attractive certificate which will provide you with a background for all of Europe, and it is accepted in all European countries. And as I mentioned before, we try to spread this even to South and Central America. Oh, this was too much. So now another point I want to come into, because it is also for the education part, it is an interesting project. It is Women in Logistics. ELA is partner of it, and again, it is more for the education of women in Europe. It is a platform for knowledge which everybody can use, every woman, every man, which will connect women all over Europe and give them also the knowledge or the intents to see what is logistics. Am I right for it? Is this something that I want to study or that I want to join? So I make you the offer. Please have a look at there. It is an interesting project. You can learn a lot and you can use it for yourself. again, if you want to spread it in your country or in your company, there is something where women in logistics come together, build their networks, and work for each other. Oh, sorry. So at the end of my presentation, I want all invite you to another ELA event. It is our Gigafactory Europe workshop. We will work on future future topics in this workshop. Sorry, in this workshop regarding what is going on right now at our supply chains, because they are strengthened. We have seen that in the COVID-19, they are resilient, but we have to be careful. There are geopolitical situations that will influence our logistics here, and you're very, very much already did and will do. So short-term and long-term effects of COVID-19 will be a topic in there. And yes, I want to finish my presentation, sorry, with thank you very much. And again, stressing that Greek is for ELA always a wonderful partner. So you can contact me anytime, but especially go to ILME, go to them if you need advice in certification. I can strongly suggest that for your own benefit. And by that, I want to really say thank you that I could be part of this this conference, and I hope to see you all in person in the future when it is possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Benedict. It was a promo for ILME, your presentation, and that's a very good invitation for Milan. We are going to consider it. Please stay tuned for next half an hour at least, if you can. Maybe we have a Q&A part.
Of course, I will.
Great. Okay, George, now we have our Vice President.
Mr. Vavakidis, Commercial Manager in PCT, who is going to present us all of Piraeus container terminal investments in the development of the logistics industry. We're really lucky that we have Mr. Vavakidis as a member of ILME, and we are really lucky to have him today and hear all the interesting issues that he's going to present us. So, Mr. Vavakidis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, George. The good thing of the online conference is that this time of the session is everybody looking for the coffee break. So now you have to stay with me. You know, it's a great honor and pleasure to be part of this conference and address to logistics expertise, logistic industry expertise, and professors, obviously, and professionals. I will try to contribute a bit in the Greek states, what a container terminal can contribute, how a container terminal can contribute in the logistic industry. And since we have only a few container terminals in Greece, and Piraeus is the bigger one, you will allow me to talk about my company, the Piraeus Container Terminal. So I'll try to share my screen. This is not...
We see your screen now. Great.
There is something wrong, I think, yes?
It's something slightly wrong that you have shared with us the wrong window.
Mr. Vavakidis?
Yes.
If you could go up on the screen that we see, go on display settings,
Yes.
up on the left, display settings.
Yes.
Yes, right there, click, please. And yes, swap presenter view and slideshow. Okay, great.
Okay. So a few words about Paris Container Terminal. I will start first with what container terminals nowadays, how they can play a vital role by having value-added services, how they can play an important role in the supply chain. As the globalization is increasingly drives shippers and cargo owners to seek and to track their goods at every stage, the container port is becoming a facilitator and partner in the supply chain. It is becoming easier than ever to forge international business ties thanks to the internet, the global communication, and improved transport infrastructure. So the globalization has led to the development of a new, more modern type of container terminal operator. And rather being the big brother in the transport sector, it now sees itself as an equal but vital member of the global supply chain family or of the ecosystem. Accordingly, more and more container terminals are seeking to develop relationships with the world shipping community to provide visibility and control to the stakeholders in an ever-lengthening supply chain. This relationship is based on the new information and communication technologies and also on changing habits of the corporate management, such as the elimination of inventories and the integrated management of chains. So the global expansion of production network has been built upon logistics. The identification of problems faced by three-party logistics of 4PL companies and the beneficial cargo owners is determined by the status of containers moving through ports and the costs that could be reduced by better communication and visibility. In this regard, Paris Container Terminal, since 2009, 2010 in fact, is investing not only in infrastructure and equipment that secure state-of-the-art innovative operations for all its clients, but is investing also in digital services that provides to all stakeholders fast, flexible, and efficient communication that, to our perspective, is essential to optimize their logistic services. So a few words about Paris Container Terminal. 100% owned, we are the only company of COSCO Shipping Ports owned by 100%. We are here with a concession for 35 years operating and managing Pier number 2 and Pier number 3. And recently we have come to an agreement with Paris Port Authority for managing Pier number 1 in terms of berthing and yard operations. The total, unfortunately, the total capacity of our company is 6.2. We need more. We have been certified by ISPS, which gives to our clients the security and the safety they need for the vessels calling our terminal. And as far as the custom status, we are free zone type 1 operators, and we have been certified as authorized economic operator. Few words about the investments in infrastructure. You can see how the port used to be in 2009 and how its terminal now is 2022. We have reconstructed Pier number 2 in order to upgrade its capacity from 1.6 to 3.2 million TEUs by reinforcing the pier. They used to work in 2 tiers. Now we operate the terminal in block storage or 6 on high. We constructed from water Pier number 2 east and west, having a total capacity of 3 million TEUs, where construction was from water. with the new technique of caissons, very fast and very efficiently. We have constructed PCD warehouse, 7,500 small warehouse for mostly cross-trade cargos. We have constructed a rail ramp in order rail operators to connect Piraeus with national and European rail network. And we have a Belgian motor gate system which supports the gating process in our terminal. I'm not sure you have seen that. This was the next one. This is how the terminal used to be in 2009 and how it is now in 2022. A few pictures during the years for the construction. So now the investments in equipment. We started with the concession 12 post-Panamax key cranes for Piraeus Port Authority, few straddle carriers and very limited yard trucks and empty handlers equipment. And now we have 30 key cranes. The majority of them are super post-Panamax, last technology, 24 to 26 outreach capacity. We have 22 rail-mounted gantries, 46 electrical RTGs, rubber tire gantries, handlers, and more than 190 yard trucks to serve our needs in a capacity of 6.2 million TEUs. The result of all these investments was that we have reached 5 million, almost 5 million TEUs. We overcome to 5 million TEUs in 2009. Unfortunately, COVID affected our performance and our operations for the last 2 years, but still we are close to our targets. And hopefully after this pandemic situation will be over, we will come back to our normal standard performances. One can say, okay, you have done 5 million TEUs, but what is this contributing to the local market and the gateway cargo and to the logistic industry? We have presently 18 services from Asia, Far East, Europe, Middle East, Mediterranean, South America, and one for US coast, and 68 feeder vessel services that serve Mediterranean, Europe, Africa, and Black Sea. All these have been attracted thanks to our investments. And all these are giving the opportunity to the cargo owners, logisticians, freight forwarders to have multiple choices with regards to the transit time, the freight rates, the size of the business they want to have, and new markets that they may invest and have business with. Respectively, the vessel calls have been increased from 965 to more than 2,300. But not only the number of the calls, but also the size of the vessels have been increased drastically. When in 2012-13, 10,000, 14,000 TEUs vessel was a main line, and now we have 20 and 24,000 TEUs vessels carrying world trade cargoes via Piraeus. And this is the annual throughput diagram. As you can see, the last 2 years, we don't have this upward tendency we used to have the previous years. And focusing into the geostrategic position of Piraeus Port, we have the minimum deviation from Suez-Gibraltar axis. We are the first EU hub port having land and rail connection with Europe. We are the ideal land bridge from the Far East to the Central and South Europe, and obviously Black Sea as well. And we have an extensive common feeders network serving all Mediterranean and Black Sea. This is the, I think one, no, yes. The present layout of the terminal. You can see Pier 2, Pier 3. I don't know if you can see here. And the positions, the places where the giga container vessels, we can operate 4 giga carriers concurrently without any draft limitation. Pier number 3 East has a draft of, safe draft of 19.5 meters, which means that any vessel which can cross Suez Canal, any container vessel which can cross Suez Canal can be operated in our terminal. So we proudly say that we are a gateway and distribution center to Europe, Middle East, and Asia by having a modern terminal with high productivity. We have our own free zone, a rail ramp, and small but modern facilities for logistic services to a certain level, not to a packet, but let's say to a carton level. It's not a secret that multinationals like Hewlett-Packard is entrusting PCDC for serving via Piraeus 17 countries all over Greece. And as far as rail infrastructure is concerned, since 2017, expecting the rail network of Greece to be fully electrified and having a double line, slowly we have reached 100,000 TEUs throughput. We serve Bulgaria and Serbia via Piraeus in 1 to 2 days, Romania in 3. We have a major activity with Czech Republic, Austria, Slovakia, and Hungary. And we have inward cargo coming from Poland and Germany as well. Investment in infrastructure is one thing, but as I said, we are trying to be part of the supply chain by offering services which may assist the logistic chain industry to provide services to the clients. So we have invested quite good money in digitalization and information system. We have started with Web IP for container discharge information system. We have driver's ID. Each and every driver has access to a card where everybody, I mean, the transport companies can assign to them jobs. It's working also as an entrance access. Same cards are used for the safety and security systems for the ISPS. We have provided with a lot of cooperation with local customs and the ministry, a lot of facilitations for the free zone services. We have established KPIs together with customs for very fast and efficient services. And last but not least, we have tried to enter to services related with a port community system, which unfortunately the market was not ready to accept because we are a private company. So we keep it for ourselves. And now we have PCT, HPCS, and these services to the stakeholders. and we use it only for our clients and our partners. So PCT-HPCS is a platform, own platform. The main stakeholders are all the industry, supply chain industry stakeholders, shipping agents, custom brokers, customs authority, rail operators, 3 and 4PL companies, and freight forwarders. By being a member of PCT-HPCS, there are a lot of benefits. We have less time by red tape reduction without physical presence with e-vouchers, e-payments, e-updates. We have cost reduction since the physical presence is not required, which benefits the scheduling of operations from the participants. We have established cybersecurity that we have license for cybersecurity that secures privacy and offers real-time access to information of all involved parties. There is a transparency which is resulting from the diffusion of information through common data exchange platform and the submission of all standard information to a single-stop shop only once with process and traceability. Obviously, a clean environment, since involved parties do not have to move in order to carry out tasks, which means less gas and less CO emissions. And we are focusing also to increase productivity thanks to the reduced bureaucracy and less physical presence of involved parties. Last but not least, we are a green port, we are a green terminal. More than 65–70% of our activities are done with electricity, and we have a big problem now because cost is increasing rapidly. But I think the environment is more. I mean, we believe the environment is more valuable than eventual some increased cost in electricity. I thank you very much for your attention, and I remain at your disposal for eventual questions you may have. Thank you.
Yes, Tassos, please remain. You have a lot of questions arised from the audience.
That means I didn't explain myself well.
No, that means you triggered a lot of.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, please stay with us. George, we are now in the Q&A session. We are going to be as brief as we can, but we have some questions. I will take the first one. It is for Mr. Theodoropoulos. Apostole, you said that companies report have limited visibility in the supply chains management and act reactively. How can a company improve supply chain visibility proactively?
Yes, a good question. Thank you, Kostas. May I explain this for my
yes, you can share
presentation,
but please stay as
okay. So the question is
about visibility, supply chain visibility.
Yes. So we see that according to this survey, 62% of companies report having limited visibility, supply chain visibility. That means that while many companies will recognize the multiple benefits of having end-to-end visibility, many are still not satisfied with the level of usable information they receive and process. Although they know all the benefits of the supply chain visibility, such as identify repeat weaknesses, as I told before, manage risk more efficiently, eliminate errors in customer service, develop a proactive supply chain network, and improve KPIs. Let's go to the question directly. So many companies will focus on maintaining their day-to-day performance metrics, while fewer will look into metrics that can help predict potential issues and proactively develop a plan. So it is not clear why this may be happening. There are two reasons, for example, two examples: lack of resources, lack of strategic focus, etc. But the way to shift and increase supply chain visibility is technology. Why? Because having the right technology in place will allow the business to collect the right information, process and analyze it, and document business decisions based on data that is relevant, accurate, and real-time. So that is the answer to your question. I hope that I explained it. And of course, the main area, the four main areas where end-to-end visibility can help are those I have mentioned before: inventory management and replenishment, order processing, distribution, and delivery or proof of delivery. And the challenges, we see that many businesses use different solutions for their operations, and information is not transferred amongst the unrelated. Some businesses have implemented different processes for each of these areas. And these challenges can be managed by reassessing the processes and developing an end-to-end solution. So I hope that
you elaborated your answer very, very well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Apostolos. George, what other questions do we have?
Yes, we have another question from Christos Mogan. This is a question for Lykourgos from Diakinesis, Manoliadis. So the question is how 3PL companies that are small in size can adapt to new requirements and the need of being sustainable. Don't they have a bigger obstacle to achieve what Lykourgos said from financial fleet perspective and so on? Is it possible in less than a decade to change to a more sustainable way? So Lykourgos,
Of course, it's a good question. It's a very good question, actually. And the challenge for the smaller companies to invest is even higher. In sustainability action as well, smaller companies cannot invest. So I would propose two solutions. The first is to take the advantage of the funding and the motivations that are currently given from the government and try to focus on cost reduction initiatives, so cost reduction projects. So, like implementing solar panels on the ceiling of the warehouse. This will create, of course, an energy reduction. To invest on electric vehicles, the fundings there are quite high. And please take the advantage of that. And also you can have actions that have no cost at all. Recycle materials, use a company that recycles materials. There are a lot of companies that do that. So this is the first point. The second is, as a 3PL company, we know that we have to engage our clients. It's very important. And see our presenters. Thanos has extremely pointed out the advantage of the collaboration before. Konstantina has emphasized on the importance of being close to your provider. And Elias from Chiesi presented all the initiatives of his company and quite ambitious targets. So all three of them come from big multinational companies and are willing on supporting initiatives and actions on sustainability. So I would propose to Christos, focus on cost-effective solutions, take the benefit of the funding that is currently provided by the government, and engage your customers. You will be positively surprised from the reaction. I'm not sure about that.
Thank you, Lykourgos. It was a very clear answer and very challenging suggestions, proposals. Thank you very much for that.
Bye. Thank you.
We thank you, Lykourgos. Should we move to the next question?
Yes.
Konstantinos, do you want to?
I have one question for
share with us?
Mr. Schroeder. Mr. Schroeder, are you with us?
I am with you.
Okay. There is a question about what was your biggest challenge as ELA, how the members will cooperate, and there is also just one word with one question, sustainability. It is obvious to say what is the ELA association with sustainability, what we do with this story.
So thank you for the question. The biggest challenge for ELA was, I suppose, the educational part of our pillar to develop our standard, to develop the whole educational background. Regarding to logistics, it is so that with a member in each country, a lot of things, a lot of topics are coming from within the countries. So each country has different topics. Also sustainability, which is a big, huge topic for logistics. So members cooperate through us. They have, for example, their own events. Like now, I am more a dissemination platform as well. So I contributed, send it to the other members so that people from Europe will be connected through ELA, let's say it like this. And yeah, I'm picking up the most important topics of our member, trying to bring them into Brussels, into the European Union institutions, and then from there back to my members. So this is how our members cooperate in various ways, I would say. But sustainability is a huge topic, which will be addressed not so much by me as ELA, but through my members and their various events like today, for example.
Thank you very much, Benedict. And Christos, who made the question, please join us, and joining us, you will join also ELA, so you will be a part of the system to make things better. But let's go to the next question, George.
Yes, we have another question from Gabriel Alexandru Hindoreanu for Mr. Vamvakidis. And the question is that, based on your opinion, how do you expect the Port of Piraeus to continue to develop from now on, and how will it affect logistics-centered places like Aspropyrgos in the near future? So this is one question. And the second question for Mr. Vamvakidis is, what is the vision for the future for logistics for all and supply chain efficiency and optimization?
Well,
so,
first
double question for Mr. Vamvakidis.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. You know, the current situation with the unstable and abnormal liner services performance overall worldwide does not allow us to make too much, to focus in the long-term vision. The Aspropyrgos and Thriassion logistics center, I think it's more than 20 years we are waiting some kind of developments. So I hope that I will be alive when finally somebody will be there in order to provide logistic services, and we will be glad as Piraeus Port to have this very big logistic center close to us. I will connect this question with the second one with regards to the logistics 4 and the supply chain efficiency. We are not participated at the moment as terminal in such a project because simply we don't have the space and the area to do such kind of business. What we are expecting is, if, thanks God, the Greek government and all these who are involved will approve the investments of COSCO shipping in the logistics center, which is close to us, the 48,000 square meters logistics center, then for sure we can talk about logistics for and supply chain efficiency. Now we are not able to do so. We don't have the means to do so. We are participating as a terminal in several European Union innovative procedures. I have here Phoenix, lodging of 5, and obviously we will participate in lodging of 6. We were partners of the Cyberma. So we are following each and everything, each and any project which is related with our activities here, but you need space in order to perform such things, and we don't have it. We don't have it. So thanks God, we were waiting our own logistics center when they will have the right to build it. I hope I have replied in both questions.
Thank you very much, Tassos.
I'm not pessimistic. I said as long as I'm alive, so there is room.
You're realistic.
There is always hope. Okay, George, I don't think that we have more time for more questions.
I'm afraid we don't. But the presenters today covered a great range of logistics trends and innovative practices in the framework of sustainable development. So, and this is a representative of all the efforts to address all this diversity of the interesting dimensions of logistics. So I really thank all presenters for their contribution today. And I think we are ready to move on to the third session. Konstantinos, if you agree.
Yes,
and,
we are ready with Katerina and Vasiliki. I will ask Benedict if he can, because I know he's very difficult situation in the airport.
Benedict, we hope there's a delay in your flight.
Okay. If you can, Benedict, stay, because we are going to speak about international, about the certification story in Greece and in Cyprus. I give the floor now to Katerina and Vasiliki and Katerina, both members of the board of directors of ILME, to go on with the third session of our ILF. Vasiliki?
Thank you, Konstantinos. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third session of this forum, the HR perspective, with the topic about certification in supply chain. Is it a necessity or a strategic option? Well, it has become common knowledge that our institute, ILME, highlights issues related to the development and prominence of supply chain professionals and executives, which is driven by one of our main activities, the certification according to the European Logistics Association standards, the ELA standards, that Benedict presented earlier and gave us the framework of the certification. Logistics professionals, of course, are the ones that face all these challenges that were presented, and we had the opportunity to analyze via the very interesting presentations that we followed. So during this session, this session of our forum, we pursued a different approach. Our guests are people who lead HR or logistics departments, who are responsible for the development of both managers and employees in their companies. So what we are looking for is the HR or the head of logistics department's view on the certification of supply chain executives?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Katerina Theofanidou. So in this session of the conference, we will continue exactly what Vasiliki also mentioned. We will continue from the point that Mr. Schroeder finished his presentation, and we will discuss ELA certification and its benefits for logistics professionals and their companies. I would like to remind you to feel free to ask any questions to our guests. It will be a panel discussion, so we are ready to receive your questions from the audience. Please write them down on the chat section, including the name of the panelist, of course. So it's our pleasure to welcome on board representatives from well-known companies from Greece, as well as the president of Kifeas in Cyprus. So let us introduce you the participants of our panel. Ms. Dimitra Benu, we will start with Ms. Dimitra Benu, has been in the field of human resources since 2007. Her professional experience spans between companies active in the banking sector, the aviation sector, and the field of health provision, while from 2015 until today, she holds the position of Organization Development Manager in Delta Foods SA. Hello, Ms. Benu, and welcome.
So we would like to thank you for your invitation in the present event.
Thank you.
I have the pleasure to welcome also Ms. Sersi Stefanou. Mrs. Stefanou is an experienced talent professional with a demonstrated history of working in the IT, consulting, and banking industry. Skilled in recruitment, organizational development, coaching, and training, with a remarkable career and academic background, she currently holds the position of Head of Talents in Neurosoft. Welcome, Mrs. Stefanou, to our forum and our panel.
Hello, everyone. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here with you, and thank you very much for inviting me.
So welcome.
Great. Let's move on to Mr. Dimitris Migdalias with studies in international business, an MBA, and multiple online long-term diploma courses, varying from psychology to negotiations and human resources. He has a remarkable career path in companies like Porcelana, Leroy Merlin, and The Mark. Currently, he holds the position of Head of Logistics for Real Tobacco, which is an export-only cigarette manufacturing company in Greece. He is also founder and owner of Join the Cloud group of companies. Welcome, Mr. Migdalias.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
And last but not least, we have the pleasure to welcome Mr. George Loizidis, the president of Kifeas, the Cyprus Supply Chain Agency. Mr. Loizidis, George, with vast experience in supply chain consulting services in various sectors, is also founder and general manager of the consulting company iMinder, a founding member of ECR Cyprus, and has been serving the association since 2011 through various positions. Welcome, George.
Good evening, Vasiliki. Good evening, Katerina. Dear colleagues, thank you for your participation. It's been a wonderful conference so far. So looking forward to your questions, Vasiliki and Katerina.
Thank you, George.
So thank you all for being here with us. Well, all of the companies represented by our guests chose to support their executives to follow a training program that led to their certification according to ELA standards. We welcome you all on board. In this session, we will give the floor to each of our participants in the panel through a series of questions.
To begin with, our first question is directly related to the ELA certification. Knowing that this is an internationally recognized professional certification, which is addressed to the executives of all levels in the supply chain hierarchy, what are your expectations? What were your expectations from this program, and to what extent these expectations were met? In what areas, knowledge, competencies, way of thinking, or other did you recognize that the program contributed in terms of your executive's performance? Do you think that either you or your company has gained a competitive advantage? Mrs. Benu, let's start from you. I would like to mention that Delta Foods has participated in this program with more than 20 employees from the first year we started with back to 2015, 2016. Right. And one of them, okay, was is the one that obtained the strategic level certification in 2021. The first year we launched the EM log. So Mrs. Benu, what were your experience?
So actually the specific certification appears an investment for the executives of our company with multiple benefits. More precisely, it covers all the aspects of the supply chain, such as demand and change planning, business principles, project management, and soft skills development. It contributes to the development of strategic thinking on the supply chain unit, the development of the appropriate skills by enhancing initiatives, flexibility, and cross-functionality. It provides better understanding on the functions that the supply chain units incorporate by enhancing teamwork and collaboration. The benefits of certification concern both the executives and their development, as well as the company and corporate efficiency, as the executives acquired multidimensional thinking about the supply chain, contributing to the company's strategy with new ideas, innovations, initiatives, and teamwork development.
I think, Mrs. Benu, there were employees from your company that they were actually got a better position after their certification. They had the chance to, you know,
yes, they also had development in the
yes,
hierarchy, yes,
in their career.
Chart, yes.
Mrs. Elsie Stefano, I would like your experience as well. So far, there are 5 employees from Neurosoft participating in the program. What would you like to say?
Thank you. So at Neurosoft, one of our aims has always been to provide the best available means to our high potential, high performing employees and continuously enhance their personal and professional development by finding, of course, the best programs that exist in the market. So initially, our need was to find a program that would enhance their level of knowledge and understanding in all of the subsectors of supply chain and provide them with a more comprehensive training in the supply chain management world. And considering that your course is an accredited and a recognized global one, our expectations from scratch was inevitably high. The first person that attended your program was basically the head of our supply chain department, and having seen in practice how beneficial the program was for him, we continuously encourage our top performers to get this accreditation. So to reply to your questions, the program not only met our expectations, but in fact exceeded them, since right now we have 4 additional participants from Neurosoft in this program, and we are planning to send additional ones in the future. Regarding the part that you mentioned on the competitive advantage, I would say that both Neurosoft and employee and our professionals gained competitive advantage. For us, the company, we enhance our corporate identity, our networking opportunities, and most importantly, we increase our employee commitment and motivation by the learning they get. And from the employee side of view, they further build their technical skills on topic around logistics, supply chain planning and execution. They also had the opportunity to advance their managerial skills there are some lessons around business principles and project management, and they also enhance their personal skills by the various lessons on how to manage a team, how to become effective communicators, how to coach others, and things like that.
Mrs. Stefano, I noticed that you value the fact that it is an internationally recognized certification. Is it so that important for you?
I think that inevitably, we need to follow and continuously improve our learnings and experiences as technology is rapidly shaping and changing. And for every employee, they need, and for us as well, I mean, we need to continue our learning and continuous growing. And in order for us to be capable and competitive in the market, we need to be aligned with the new circumstances. So accreditations for me personally is a must.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Migdalias, you are participating in the certification program with 2 candidates so far, and you're the newer, let's say, company that participates in the ILA certification. What is your experience so far?
Yeah, so far it was great. We had only 2 participants so as to test the water, see how it will go, how to be the reaction of our colleagues. And my expectations that my colleagues, executives, would receive a well-framed set of theoretical knowledge to pair with their on-the-field experience. And finally, they got more than that. It is obvious that the process of getting the certification intrigued them to further research and combine theory with their actual day-to-day operation that allow them to explore new solutions to problems, to find ways to become more efficient, to overcome problems. Also, I remember them calling me at the weekends and after the lectures and discussing for hours regarding how these theories that they have for the first time, some of them learned, how they could be efficiently used in day-to-day operations, how they could improve performance. They're telling me how correct I was, how theory approved I was, because the last 100 meetings I was telling them issues that they were now learning by themselves from other people, experienced with good skills. I know that some of them, both of them are listening to me, so good guys, good job guys and girls. Definitely a competitive advantage for both colleagues and for the company. They acquired relative to their occupation knowledge and competencies, and they set their bigger picture and their part in the company, which is very important. To sum up, having this internationally recognized professional certificate from ILA really made them proud and more competitive as professionals in the company, but also in the market, because yes, we should train, coach our executives, meet the senior level managers to finally get our jobs, or even get a better job in the market. This would make us proud. This is the reason we work also. So it's affirmative. The certification provided for a clear competitive advantage to both parts. This is obvious.
Yes, you had a very interesting point regarding the fact that the candidates have a challenge when they prepare for this certification to get let's say a 360 understanding of the supply chain. Yeah. So this interaction with you concerning the topics, how they get the big picture and how the various operations affect each other, and what is how the trade-off works to achieve, the optimum, let's say, to take the optimum decision.
With few words, they finally understood their part in the ROI of the company. Yeah. This is the key point. They understand how big their importance is in the well-being and economical future of the company.
Great. Katerina?
Great. Let's move on to the second question. So we understand from your answers that the benefits for both the employee and the company are multiple. I would say you said from your answers, you said the development of the human capital, increased productivity levels of the employees. That's very important to be an attractive employer for your employees. Also the soft skills enhancement you mentioned, and also employee commitment, some notes that I took from your answers. And I would add maybe one disadvantage that Mr. Migdalias just mentioned, that they were calling their boss at weekends and late evenings to discuss several things. So this would be a disadvantage of the ELA certification, if we could say that. So let's move to the second question. What would be your advice towards the HR managers, but also towards the head of operations of supply chain, that the people that are watching us, regarding ELA certification? What is the main reason you would urge them to adopt it in their companies? What do they have to gain from the implementation of this program? And ultimately, is such a decision a necessity or a strategic choice, as our session title inquires? So if you could answer to these questions, maybe we could keep the same series. Maybe Ms. Bennu, could you reply?
Yes, of course. The specific program combines both know-how and the development of soft skills. So it appears a strategic choice for the company. It enhances teamwork, personal and professional development, and improves the working environment. Furthermore, provides innovation and strategic development, which leads to a competitive advantage for the company. Consequently, based on the above, we recommend the specific program to the heads of human resources and operations as an asset for their organization.
Great, thank you very much for your answer. Ms. Elsie Stefano, would you like to add something to this question?
So, as I've told you before, I think that professional certification have become a prerequisite in the business world. And from that end, I would say that this is a necessity. However, if a company wants to gain a competitive advantage to stand out in the market, then we're talking about a strategic choice, because it's a company's strategic choice to focus on their employees' growth and further development. It's a strategic choice to ensure and enable learning and continuous training to help them maintain a high level of knowledge and competence. And if a company wants to remain in the market at the forefront, we need to invest in our people, and we need to find the best programs available. And your program is a one that refers at a global scale. And also, as Mrs. Laizino and Mr. Magdalias mentioned, for us, it's very, very important the fact that it's a more comprehensive, and it takes into account all the interdependencies and the related operational functions of the supply chain. So from one end, our employees now have improved their personal soft skills, the technical soft skills, they have built their network, and it's now definitely up to them to find out how to best they can utilize everything they've learned, further build their brand, further build their network internally and externally.
Great, perfectly clear your answer, Ms. Stefano, thank you. Mr. Migdalias, would you agree, disagree, a necessity or strategic choice?
Well, continuous learning has surpassed the nice-to-have status of the knowledge. It has become the normal. It is now required. Executives now value the learning of the experience of the growth together with their company, similar to the way they value their wage. As I said before, decisions have to be taken prior to the necessity for change. We all must make decisions to educate our executives, or they will turn to another company and they will provide that is willing to provide for them this opportunity, this knowledge. And at that point, it may be very late. and be a point that we will be facing a pile of CVs on our desk to recuperate and for the loss of executives and mid-level managers. So it's definitely it's definitely a strategic decision and not a necessity.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you very much. Mr. Loizidis, would you add something to our discussion? What do you think regarding your experience?
I definitely agree with the co-speakers. I think we should all see the certification as we see it in ELA, in KIFEAS, along with ELA, as a strategic decision and choice. We should see the bigger picture. I think we all need to set the strategic goals already. Our co-speakers have mentioned some of them, one of them being to start showing to the people that they're not just silos in a company, working in the warehouse or working in distribution. I think that was one of the first advantages that we have seen through the program. People come and telling us that the supply chain it's a bigger area of exploration. And at this point, I would like to emphasize that a diagnosis should be made on the people that exist in the supply chain. Specifically in Cyprus, we have identified 4 levels of people, of categories based on their experience. We have the rookies, the explorers, the rising stars, and the stars, with the stars being the people with more than 15 years of experience in the supply chain. And I must say that all these levels should and must take the certification. It's not a certification just for the juniors, even for the ones that have many, many years of experience should take the course. And this is not just a seminar. This is not a seminar that we have on a budget that we should give it to people to keep them in the company. This is bigger than us, I would say, because if we encourage people to educate themselves and under this global certification, we should start speaking more efficiently within the supply chain. We will speak the same language. We will turn the KPIs even higher. So I think we are making efforts, all of us, both in Greece and Cyprus, and of course in all over Europe. Benedict should know more than us, that this effort would lead eventually to a higher level of supply chain experts, and what we can do in the markets and the economies, and in these times that are very challenging after COVID, and now the serious issues that are globalized. So yes, it is a strategic choice for the company, and it's also a necessity. And I urge us all the HR managers and the supply chain managers to see it as it is, to see the bigger picture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Loizidis. I think we all agree that it is a strategic choice, or at least it should be a strategic choice and not only a necessity. In this, now I would like to add what Mr. Loizidis just said, that the certification is for everyone in the hierarchy of the supply chain. Okay, there are 3 levels, as you all might know. There are 3 levels of certification: operational, managerial, and strategic level. So even for all levels of the hierarchy in the supply chain. So Vasiliki.
That is correct, Katerina, that is correct. Let's move forward. We had very interesting points mentioned by all the panelists. Let's move forward to our next topic question. And I would like to mention here what Gregory Prastakos, the former rector of the Athens University of Economics and Business, and currently Dean of the School of Business at the Stevens Institute of Technology, said in a recent interview he gave. Well, he gave an advice to the future managers and leaders of the decade, which was that be willing to continuously learn, unlearn, and learn again. He also emphasizes that today it is most important for technology professionals to understand business and for business professionals to understand technology. He also states what people don't have is the ability to critically look at the data, to understand what data is good and what data is not good. They need to know how to synthesize and how to think critically about data. This is becoming extremely critical. In the current environment, which is a volatile and uncertain, complex and ambiguous VUCA environment, like the one we have been experiencing for the last 2 years, there is a need for adaptability and continuous learning for the executives to keep up with changes and disruptions. I would like a last comment from you today on the importance and the purpose of lifelong training and certification for professionals and executives, regardless of the level of their academic qualifications. Of course, considering also the ELA certification system that your organization supported for its middle and high-level managers. So the floor is yours, Mrs. Benu, to start again with you and
thank you.
Your approach in
for
Delta.
Human capital appears the most valuable pillar for the company. Our priority is to maintain a safe, fair, and merit-based working environment through continuous growth opportunities that are offered to all our employees. Delta assures excellent working condition, training and development opportunities, even under the difficult conditions it had to address since 2020 with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are placing considerable emphasis on maintaining high level of development for our employees through modern methods of trainings, such as seminars, conference attendance, certifications, and subsidies postgraduate programs in various topics and fields such as supply chain, quality and safety management systems, health and safety, development of skills, financial, IT, corporate responsibility, manufacturing policy, and other. Our key long-term objective is to offer our employees appropriate training opportunities and know-how, facilitating their ongoing development. By this method, they enrich their knowledge and they are more able to directly address the challenges of their everyday life, as well as their productivity level also increases.
Well, Mrs. Benu, I wouldn't expect anything less from Delta Foods, and the company is well known and its culture as well. Mrs. Stefano, what would you like to add?
Well, I couldn't agree more with what Mr. Perstakos said. And from my end, we live in a world that it's always changing and in a fast pace. So, you know, if we also recall something that Heraclitus mentioned, that the only thing that remains constant is change. This means that, you know, for everyone to function effectively among the rapidly changing world of technology, we need to learn new things to remain valuable and to remain competitive. We need to keep up with the advancements of today's world. We need to keep ourselves updated with new skills, competencies, knowledge, which are formed, you know, from technology and new trends. And after all, we shouldn't forget the fact that learning is essential to our existence overall. So it's essential to our growth as human beings, either at a personal or a professional level. And without continuous learning, the importance of our current capability will be diminished. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, continuous learning for me intends basically two things, irrespective of, you know, the competence, the industry, the function, whatever. So two things. First of all, it helps us remain relevant to our industry by keeping us up to date and upgrading our skill sets. And second of all, it boosts our confidence, it opens our minds, it changes our perspective by building on what we already know. The more we learn, the better we will be at seeing more sides of the same situation, helping us feeling more comfortable out of our comfort zone. In this rapidly changing world that we're living in, we regularly are forced to perform outside our comfort zone. And I'm going to close with this, that we shouldn't neglect the fact that supporting our employees with career development programs, we also improve employee retention. Therefore, we increase our competitiveness in the market, we increase productivity, we reduce costs, and quite importantly, we improve employee experience, something which we value a great deal. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Stefano. It was a very clear and thorough proposal and answer. Mr. Migdalias, what would you like to add?
I would like to add that it used to be that all managers should have some kind of re-education every 10, 12 years. It was the best advice you can get from an experienced manager. Get some kind of MBA or certification, for example, would be a plus. One's career path. Nowadays, it's true not only for the manager, but as you said before, also for all the executive mid-level managers in an organization, that at some point should and must take decisions when needed, when it's necessary. As you said before, also those technological breakthroughs both generates and requires new knowledge that people should acquire in a modern competitive business environment. Having a specialized professional, therefore, certificate of this magnitude from logisticians to logisticians is the way to go. This 15, 20 years of experience, I understand that knowledge works faster than experience and costs less since it pays for itself. So it is a great investment and it's an ongoing process. Thank you.
Of course, it is a great investment that companies have to incorporate in their culture and their budget also, if they want to continue to be valuable, competitive, sustainable, and agile. So what would you like to add, Mr. Loizidis, on this aspect?
Well, I would like to make a, let's say, a metaphor or see this certification as the introduction of innovative technology in the sector. When we first started talking about the robots, and we were saying it's far, far away. So at some point it would happen, but we'll see when it comes. The certification, it's a next level of education. And once a professional start getting the certification, the ones that remain without the certification, I think they will have a disadvantage in the recruitment in the market. So I urge all those that, especially the ones that are rising stars and at the last level of the category, as we have diagnosed it, to never stop educating themselves and try to get the certification as well, because we see that especially in the middle management and above, it is a challenge because they see that they have the experience. Perhaps it's enough, they say. We know a lot of things. We have an education, perhaps we have a master's degree or not. So I urge everyone to see this as an evolution in the market. Perhaps some people may say that it's also a revolution, depending on the level of education in the country. So everyone needs to be updated and try to learn in every step of the way in their professional career. And so this initiative is not just for the juniors. I say it again, this for everyone, and we have made it a reality in Cyprus because we have already general managers and supply chain directors in the program that are getting educated. They want to have the certification, and they are very interested in learning more. So those are the people that will stand out in these challenging times, and we should pass on this message to every colleague in every organization. This is something unique for us, and we think that it will change the market.
I think there is, I dare say, enthusiasm in the candidates, in most of the candidates that participate in the program, which is very interesting to see. Of course, continuous learning for all levels of employees, irrespective to their academic qualification, is one of the key tools for companies to keep up with future challenges. Okay, thank you all for your input. Katerina.
Yes, thank you, Vasiliki. Well, let's move on to the final question for today. And I would like to thank you all for being here. I can see 114 people still here with us. So the last question I would like to address to the president of KIFEAS in Cyprus, Mr. Loizidis. First, I would like to inform you all, our audience, that ILME and KIFEAS have signed an MOU with the main purpose to promote the ELA certification system in Cyprus. So in the last exam session that took place in last February, we had more than 20 candidates from Cyprus, thanks to the support from KIFEAS. So I would like to ask Mr. George Loizidis, how did the supply chain industry react to the opportunity offered by the availability of ELA certification in Cyprus? And what is the feedback that you got from the market after the completion of the last exam session, which was the first one for Cyprus? And what is the company's approach to the certification concept for their executives?
First of all, there is an enthusiasm about the certification, about ELA certification, and that's why you have the high numbers in the first cycle of the training and the exams. But I must say that we set the bar high, and because we have people that are not in the same level as others, we have people of two speeds, as we say in Cyprus. We have people that are more ready to catch up, and we have people that need to make more efforts to be aligned with the rest of the group. So we have seen this in the program as well. We've seen this in the classes that we have. But as I said, it is something that it's quite big. So our effort is to keep training those people and getting them ready for the certification, for the exams, and we hopefully in the next couple of years, this gap between those two groups of different speeds will be aligned, and that's how we will communicate and work even better in the market. So in terms of expectations, there are some challenges that need to be faced for the people that are seeing the certification as more difficult than others, but there are various ways to get there. The target is quite high. The certification it's global recognized, so it's not a walk in the park, as we might say, but we can take small steps to reach our goal, and some others will take faster and bigger steps. So now the companies have seen the certification concept as an opportunity to provide a good education to the people. I agree with Mrs. Stefanou with everything that she has said about the goals achieved in the organization, and we have similar comments from different companies. I must say that more than 90% of the participants were funded by their companies. So this revealed the trend and the appetite, let's say, to invest in people. But I believe that in the following years, we should see an increasing trend of people joining also by themselves. like funded by themselves, because it will be a necessity to have the certification as a professional prior to joining a company or an organization. So we have a lot of work to do in the next years. We have a great interest for the next cycles as well, and we will continue to promote the certification in Cyprus. And I must emphasize at this point that the certification was requested by the members. So our members requested it, and that's why we brought it in Cyprus. So they are aware of the certification. They understand the value, and in the next years, we should see more companies joining this effort for the training and the certification.
Great, thank you very much for your detailed answer. So I would like to encourage our audience to send their questions or comments to our last session's participants. So please feel free to ask whatever question you want to Ms. Benu, Ms. Stefanou, Mr. Migdalias, or Mr. Loizidis. Maybe we could give the microphone, let's say, to Mr. Schroeder, who is still here with us. Mr. Schroeder, if you would like to tell us what you think about the things that we're discussing here in Greece and Cyprus, maybe your opinion or a comment from your point of view.
Yeah, thank you very much. It is actually very good to see from my perspective that you see it, you see the ELA education as the way it is. I'm joining in with you when saying it is more of a strategic choice. There is the Erasmus Pledge Lifelong Learning, and we try to provide that. So we also try to develop these standards from time to time. So for now, we're adding a lot of digital contents and contents that go with our time. So our standards will be updated as well. Meaning for you, with the years, over the years, this is not always the same education. We will always be at the top. And I can only say yes, very, very good feedback also for me to see how it is working, what you think about this kind of education. Europe sees this the way you do. Most of my European countries see it, and I think if we join in together, me from Brussels, you in Greece, and we will join in, then we will be a very competitive logistics sector in Europe, also throughout the world, and we will take a leading part. But I join in with you. Education is very, very important, and it should be a strategic topic in every company to motivate your employees. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution and your feedback, and for being here with us, although you're traveling. Maybe Mr. Malindretos, George, would you like to add something to our discussion here?
Yes, at first I would like to congratulate you both for the excellent coordination of this session. And I would like to congratulate all the participants of this session for their professional and qualitative statements that actually confirm the contribution of all these certification schemes to effective decision making in both strategic and operational level. And also, George Loizidis is a clear example of how ILME works all these years, exploiting all the opportunities for collaborative action. And I think we will continue cooperate successfully in the future. We need to drive improvements and reduce complexity in the supply chain. So I think certification is a very nice methodology, because we with this certification schemes, we speak the same language, we have common goals, and I think it's very critical for the future. And we're really proud to be member of ELA. This is a comment from Benedict. We're really proud of we're members of the largest European logistics association, and we will work on very hardly to gain all these benefits from this European Logistics Association, together with George from Cyprus and whoever will be a member of ILME in the future, and the current ILME members. Where we invite all participants to be member of ILME, and congratulations to all for this very, very important conference, which covers a great range of logistics issues, trends, and innovative practices. Thank you very much for the cooperation with all of you.
Thank you for your input, George. Thank you, Katerina. Thank you, Mrs. Benu, Mrs. Stefano, Mr. Mithelias, and of course, a big thanks to George Loizidis for his support and his commitment to the ELA certification system and the new cooperation that we have between ILME and KIFEAS. You covered all the aspects. You even exceeded my expectations, I dare say. So I would like to ask Konstantinos Chaniotis to close the conference. I think we covered all. There are no questions from the audience, are there? No. Okay. So I think we covered all aspects, the HR perspective and the company's perspective. So,
and we're perfectly on time.
Yes, and perfectly on time.
As good logisticians.
Exactly.
And overcoming all the problems. I saw also the Vice President here, Tasso. Tasso, do you want to add something? Or you?
I would like to thank all of you. Many thanks to our ladies and to our professor. George, thank you very much. Your contribution was supreme. Thank you.
It was crucial to cover me.
No, I don't think so.
Nothing to say for the chairman, for the president, because I'm a vice president. Okay.
And we are in the election year. We have elections, and probably Mr. Pankidis wants to move up. Okay.
I think Tassos is a promo, real promo for ILME board, as PCT is a promo for Greek logistics in the global business world.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
I would like to thank you all for all the speakers, especially also all the χορηγοί.
Sponsors.
Okay, it's late, sorry. Our sponsors. And most of all, I would like to thank you, everyone that was following us until so late and stay with us. I do really hope that we convince you that here in ILME we are trying to do something differently. We are trying to be inclusive. We are trying to give the states and the opportunity to everyone who wants to contribute to logistics to be part of this great team. I only have very, very good words for my team, but of course you expect that from me. But this is the reality. Without all the teamwork that has been done in the last 2 months, this ILF wouldn't happen. And it's not only the ones that you saw today. There are a lot of people that worked through these 2 months behind the scenes, and some they are still working. And we also owe to them a very big thank you. So that's it, the 6th ELF. We are going to have the 7th next year, hopefully, maybe in person, hopefully. But in the meantime, stay tuned. We have more things to do. We have Katerina that wants also to add something. Katerina, please.
Just a quick reminder, just to mention once again our sponsors, which we thank for their contribution. You can see them on your screen as well. Let's mention them once again. It's Entersoft, ICCS, Wings, the Hellenic Institute of Transport, GlobalSat, Metaforespress.gr, and Nox Capture. And also I would like to read the message from Mr. Morgan. He says, we appreciate having the opportunity to attend this interesting forum as students of the University of Piraeus, and surely it surpassed my expectations. Also, I want to thank all the speakers. Their input was amazing.
Okay, what can I say after that? I just want to say thank you, all of you, and see you soon. Stay tuned with ILME and join us. We are here for you, and you are there for us. We are together. Okay. Have a nice night. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night, Konstantinos. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.